Time 9 o'clock. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. A Utah rabbi and other local leaders are reacting to a deadly attack at a Hanukkah celebration in Australia. Rabbi Remy Zippel says he feels numb because of what happened, but he says he and the rest of the Jewish community will not hide because of this act of terror.
We know that the only way to combat rising hate, rising violence is with love and light, all the themes that are embodied in the flames of the menorah.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox said on social media he and his wife are heartbroken by the attack and that, quote, every person of faith should be able to worship freely and without fear. There's heightened security at Hanukkah celebrations around the United States after the attack on the Jewish community in Australia this weekend. Police say 2 gunmen opened fire on Sydney's Bondi Beach on the first night of Hanukkah. ABC's Aaron Katersky says armed police were present at a menorah lighting in Midtown Manhattan.
Police in New York and in cities across the country are stepping up security for Hanukkah celebrations after the deadly rampage in Australia. The police commissioner here said that attack was no isolated incident, but part of what she called a wider assault on Jewish life.
Police say at least 15 people, including one of the shooters, died. The other suspected shooter is in custody. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 61 points to 48,389. Coming up, we've got rain coming, but not till Tuesday night into Wednesday. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. You've heard me talk now for years about the Kinetico soft water system that we have in our home. As we head into the colder weather, if you're dealing with dry and itchy skin, do you notice your skin is cracking? It's uncomfortable and the lotion doesn't seem to give you the relief you need? Hard water may be a hidden contributor to that pain and discomfort of dry, itchy skin. I've got Monty here from Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer and an expert in overcoming challenges with hard water here in Utah.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. When you shower in hard water, the minerals don't rinse away completely, forming a film in your skin, leaving you feeling tight, dry, and constantly itching.
So the hard water minerals are essentially leaving a sticky residue on my body and even in my hair?
Exactly. Kinetico removes the minerals before they touch your skin, leaving you feeling silky, smooth, and comfortable.
Do what I did and stop buying expensive lotions and start treating the source of the problem. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
From holiday hosting to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. And now, during their Sizzle All the Way sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code SKY at checkout. I was lucky enough to receive Omaha Steaks as a gift, and it was everything I had hoped for. Items were individually packaged so I could cook for the entire family. Or if I was the only one home, I would treat myself with a delicious steak, sides, and even dessert. I loved those nights by myself. Right now is the perfect time to save on delicious gifts and holiday hosting favorites. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. It's holiday magic made easy. Save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Sizzle All the Way sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code SKY at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, code SKY.
KSL News Time is 9:05. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's an update with Jason Jones.
And we still have this problem southbound on I-15, just in the Pleasant Grove area. 2 right lanes are blocked there, so you're going to move over to the left. We got some heavy leftover delays from when it was basically blocking the entire highway. So it's not quite as bad as it was then, but it is still fairly decent delays stretched back almost to 5th East and American Fork at this point. Also over on the northbound side, we've got an incident there as well. This one is going to be a little bit further north than that. Just around 2nd South in Linden is the place for that one. Right lane is blocked. Traffic is moving over to the left, so you're going to find some slowing through there. Now, once you get past all that mess and you get up into the Salt Lake Valley, things are looking really good. No problems at all on I-15 itself. Southbound coming out of Weber and Davis counties, it's still a little slow in the Rose Park area, but not nearly as bad as it was, as that accident at 10th North has cleared. Join Habitat for Humanity of Greater Salt Lake on a Global Village trip. Make a hands-on impact. Build homes, improve infrastructure, and experience cultural immersion. Limited spots available. Secure yours today and change lives. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today we're going to see mostly sunny skies with a bit of haze and temperature getting to a high of 50 degrees. Tomorrow the weather will stay in the 50s with cloudy skies before moisture comes in the evening. Right now it is 32 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Good Monday morning and welcome to another edition of Inside Sources. When we come in Mondays, Holly, it seems like we're sort of revisiting what happened over the weekend. And this weekend was just especially tragic on so many levels. Brown University, 2 people dead, 9 wounded. 15 people killed at an attack at an Australian Hanukkah celebration. I mean, 2 service members killed in ambush in Syria.
Yep, and there were teens shot in New York. They were at a Sweet 16 party. I think 6 teenagers were shot. And then I saw news late last night about Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, being found murdered. And then this morning, we're finding out more that they have arrested a suspect. It happens to be their son.
Their son. Oh, my word. I mean... and we had a beautiful night, I have to say, Saturday night, attending the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. What a beautiful event. And the venue is just incredible. I couldn't believe it. And so I went to the Capitol last night and attended the Hanukkah celebration there. I was a guest of Rabbi Zippel. And it was another beautiful event, but it was unfortunately, it fell on the heels of that terrible shooting in Australia that had happened at a similar event in Australia just several hours earlier. Here's Rabbi Benny Zippel.
It is the victory of good over evil, of light over darkness. With the sadness and with the grief, we have to evoke and arouse from within ourselves added joy.
And he tried to continue that message throughout. And Governor Cox was there too. I mean, it was a very well attended event. It was at the Capitol Rotunda. I would say this, and I wasn't sure what to expect. They certainly had some security there, and maybe they do always because the Department of Public Safety mans that area. Excuse me, but they certainly had a security there.
It was heightened last night, I know for sure. And in fact, one of the news stories that I read this morning, it really struck me that there was one of the rabbis who spoke said, it's really only Jewish events that have to have their religious ceremonies protected by increased security.
Right. Governor Cox, as I indicated, talked about conflict leading to peace, however.
Sometimes it is the very conflict, the very darkness, the very evil that leads people to find that peace, to seek that peace together, to stand shoulder to shoulder, different faiths, different religions, standing up for one another.
Spencer Cox just rises to the occasion. He gets invited to something, and he was very comfortable there, and he sat there with the rabbi, with several of the rabbis, and he was just swarmed by people. Everyone wanted to come up and talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm sure his security detail was going through the roof, but he was very available, and all the kids were coming up to him and talking to him, and then he just gave a very, very powerful message.
I think, one of the things, just to remind our listeners about Hanukkah. So Hanukkah is the Festival of Lights, and it is in memory of a miracle that happened. It's observed for 8 nights and days. It's usually around the time of Christian Christmas celebrations, but it's not Christmas, right? It just happens to be about the same time. But it commemorates a miracle where there was only enough oil to light one candle, and it lasted for 8 days.
Right. And even those outside of the Jewish community attended the event last night. Here's KSL TV Shelby Lofton, who spoke with a couple on why they decided to attend.
What happened in Sydney encouraged some families to come out for the event, like Hickey Mai and Ann Johnson.
We feel like it's important to be supportive of the community and also to give our kids exposure to different cultures out there.
They aren't Jewish, but said they want their children to understand other traditions.
I think the biggest thing for people is they misunderstand each other, and that's where we get our prejudices from.
I was pleasantly surprised by the turnout, Holly, and we had a lot of dignitaries there. I know that Attorney General Derek Brown was there, Salt Lake City Mayor Mendenhall was there. I'm sure I'm missing numerous people, but there were a lot of people there that could have done other things, especially in light of what had to be some security concerns. But people showed up, especially people who had every reason to feel like security would be something that would be important, that would be paramount to them.
Well, can you talk at all about the type of security? Was it more than just going through a metal detector?
Well, yes, because it was interesting. If you know the Rotunda, it's this beautiful facility on the second floor of the Capitol, but there are also stairs that lead up to you probably know this, the House chambers and the Senate, whatever. So there were people sort of standing on the upper level. Some were media, some had cameras, some were clearly security. They were not big, dressed like SWAT team or something like that. I mean, they were mostly just dressed the same as the rest of us, but you could tell they were security. And it was a peaceful event. I mean, I don't think anybody had any concern about anything that was going on there, in large part because I think that there was a show of security there, and it wasn't oppressive at all. Just a very, very beautiful event. There was actually a fellow who was the former ambassador to the Middle East. He was like in his 90s, and he was he had escaped to America and to New York weeks before he would have been detained and probably put in a concentration camp.
Wow.
I wish I could remember his name, but was
it John Price?
Yes.
Wow.
How'd you know?
I didn't realize he was that old. It's okay.
I think that's who it was.
Welcome.
I shouldn't say. It was like 90 something. But it was just to hear him and talk about what's going on, and there were several rabbis that spoke as well. It was just a beautiful event. And I think I want to follow up with this. It seems to be a big on the news today, everything that's going on, and we're going to go visit Australia situation as well later on, and maybe even have one of the local rabbis join us. But this Hanukkah event, something maybe I didn't appreciate until going. It's not the kind of thing you think about, but it was I don't know, it was kind of a learning experience for me to watch what was happening there and the incantations and some of the displays and whatnot. It was really quite beautiful.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's going to continue for the next 7 nights basically, and it's an opportunity, I think, for everybody to learn more about a community that may or may not be different from our own.
And Governor Cox spoke with one of the rabbis about the situation having been switched a little bit back in September when a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was attacked and several members were killed. And the whole idea that, when religions get attacked, you kind of think about it as that's another religion. That's the Jewish
until
people.
It hits your own.
Until it hits your own, and the governor really made a very poignant reference to that one did hit his own.
Well, when we come back, we are going to talk with Utah's own Rabbi Avrami Zippel, who's going to share his response to this tragic attack and what it means for Utah's Jewish community moving forward. Stay with us over the break.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Utah is one of the best places to live, work, and raise a family. But for many Utahns, the dream of owning a home is slipping away. Home prices have risen faster than incomes, and families are spending nearly 2/3 of what they earn just to keep a roof overhead. From young graduates to grandparents, everyone is feeling the squeeze. Utah needs more homes, the right kinds of homes, so families can stay close and our communities can thrive. That's why Utah Workforce Housing Advocacy created Demand More Supply, a statewide effort helping Utahns understand the issue and take action in their own communities. Because when we work together, we can make housing affordable again for today's families and for future generations. Let's make the dream of owning a home a reality again. Learn more and add your voice at demandmoresupply.com. demandmoresupply.com. That's demandmoresupply.com.
The holiday season is here and it is in full force, and it's time for you and your entire family to get into NPS, where everything, every day, is 20 to 70% off. But the great thing is, shopping is truly an adventure at NPS because they'll have additional savings on top of the 20 to 70% off. It's a chance for you to really stretch those Christmas dollars at any of the 4 NPS stores. And at this time of year, it's so important for you to know that they've got it all. They've got toys for the kids. They've got art supplies, the holiday decor, everything you need for your holiday meals. It's waiting for you at NPS. There are 4 stores, 2 in Salt Lake on Empire, the traditional store, and then the more industrial store across the street. There's one in Orem, and there's one in Layton. NPS, a nice place to save.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now, have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security, Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Inside Sources.
Well, a lot of people are mourning this morning after 15 people were killed over the weekend in what police say was a terrorist attack against the Jewish community in Australia. Police say 2 people opened fire last night at a Hanukkah event at Bondi Beach in Sydney, killing 15 people. There were numerous, I think 40 people were injured.
At least 40 in the hospital.
It was a father and son, the suspects. The father has been killed. The son's in critical condition. He's hospitalized. I mean, you can only assume that this was a targeted event. And just by pure coincidence, I went to a similar event last night at the state capitol. I just mentioned that. It was presided over by our next guest, Rabbi Avrami Zippel, who's joining us now. Rabbi, thank you for joining us this morning.
Morning, Holly. Greg, thank you for coming out last night. It was great to see you.
It really was wonderful. And Rabbi, can you tell our listeners, in light of what happened just hours earlier in Australia, was there anything different done last night, or did you feel like there was a different mood that had to be part of the equation, or how did it affect what we did last night?
Yeah, that's a great question. Admittedly, yesterday morning, woke up to this tragic, horrifying news. It's almost difficult to believe, and there's certainly a very instinctive part of you that realizes you're going to be bringing your wife and your kids to this event tonight here at home, and encouraging everyone else to bring out their wives and kids. You think to yourself, we can't do this. We can't go on. We can't take that responsibility to hold this sort of event in town and bring out that amount of people. And once you get through that thought, I think the immediate thought that follows is there are some forces of evil out there that were responsible for perpetrating the attack in Australia, and nothing would bring them greater joy than knowing that in light of what happened in Australia, that another Hanukkah celebration was canceled somewhere else around the world in responsibility that we can feel to push back against that and to celebrate in the face of tremendous adversity, and to know that we will never allow our celebrations to go on in any sort of minimized or turned down fashion really motivated us to pull it off last night. I want to give a tremendous amount of credit to the governor and his team. The governor was adamant from the earliest imaginable point. He will be there. He must be there. He will not be canceling or scaling back in any way. And precautions were taken in the realm of security. And ultimately, it was far and away the largest event we've ever held in the Rotunda. It's an event that's 11 years running. The numbers last night were absolutely staggering and mind-blowing. It definitely had a more somber feel. I will acknowledge that. I think a lot of us went into the event with fairly heavy hearts, but I think that the courage that was shown and the love that we felt from the wider community certainly made it all worth it.
Rabbi Zippel, I wonder if you could speak a little bit about the juxtaposition of the Festival of Lights after such a dark event, right? It's got to be symbolic, too.
Well, it's kind of ironic, right, Holly? We talk about the Festival of Lights. I think we sometimes forget the context that the Festival of Lights was born out of tremendous, tremendous darkness. And the governor actually mentioned in his remarks last night something profound, and I love the way he phrased it, that the real value of light is only appreciated the deeper the darkness gets. We celebrate a Festival of Lights that was born out of, that was created out of tremendous adversity, tremendous persecution, tremendous violence, to be honest. And it was the decision to push back against that darkness that helped us appreciate and value how incredible the light that comes out of that darkness is. And I think that we relate to that really, really profoundly this year, given the events that happened in Australia and given the wider context in which everything is happening, that when violence and evil rear their ugly heads, the ability that we have to create light and love from those situations makes that light all the more valuable.
And Avrami, I really had to take back a little bit and just listen to Governor Cox and listen to your father, Benny, speak and the message that they gave. And both of them spoke from the heart to the point where they were a little touched. You could tell that they were affected by this entire thing. What do you think the message was for those that were there last night in terms of, the optimism and the light, like you say, that maybe there is a lot of good in the world, notwithstanding some of the horrible things we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I perceived that as well. And I got to tell you, for the few brief moments that I was up there on the podium, gazing out at the rest of the rotunda, it's kind of a view you only have as the speaker, as everyone else is facing the front of the room, and it was stuffed to capacity, and just the sheer amount of bodies that were gathered in the rotunda last night really was touching, it was heartwarming, it was encouraging, and I specifically in the world that we live in nowadays, with the recurrence of violence that we have found so often, we can never and must never judge society by its worst. We need to judge society by the reaction to when the worst happens. And so I think that we can take the events in Australia last night and say, oh my God, the world is in a horrible place. It's irredeemable. It's irreparable. It's just bad and broken, and there's no hope. Or we can look at the global reaction to what happened in Australia, and we can look at the hundreds and thousands of folks who joined menorah lighting last night, who did not intend to prior to yesterday morning, who came out to support their Jewish brothers and sisters, whether it was folks in the Jewish community who did not intend to attend but were motivated to do so. Given what happened in Australia, that's what we judge society on. We judge it based on the reaction. We judge it based on how we show up to the very worst of occurrences. And to your point, I agree. I think that in the totality of everything that happened in the past 36 hours, I think there is hope. I think there is optimism. I think there are brighter days ahead. And I think that if each of us is committed to bringing light to our own small corner of the world, we will together cumulatively bring change and light to the entire world.
That's really beautiful. Thank you for that. I'm wondering also if you could speak to people who are not part of the Jewish faith, but you've already mentioned they came out last night. How can we support our Jewish friends?
That's a great question. And I think that for the Jewish community, we specifically here in Utah, and Governor Cox mentioned this as well, the shoe has kind of been switching feet now for some time, pardon the reference, but we in the Jewish community found ourselves wanting to support and love and encourage our LDS brothers and sisters however we could after the shooting in Michigan, which was not that long ago. We definitely felt that sort of reciprocity last night. And it's unfortunate that we live in a world where, it seems like every couple of weeks, every couple of months, some of the folks in the religious community need to be rallying around their brothers and sisters in a different community because they're in the midst of mourning violence that happened in a religious place of worship. But that's what's been going on. We've been supporting them, and they've been supporting us, and we'll all be supporting somebody else. So there is a series of Hanukkah celebrations taking place all week. Tonight we'll be in Midvale, tomorrow in South Jordan, Wednesday in Draper, Thursday in Riverton, Saturday night we'll have our big parade downtown, Sunday we're at the Mammoth Game. These are events that are intentionally and by design open to the public. There is no sort of prerequisite for participation, whether you're Jewish or not Jewish or curious or want to show support or want to show love. These are tremendous opportunities to come out to, and we welcome that. We welcome that love. We welcome that support, and that's how we all get through this together.
Rabbi, how can people find out about these other events? I thought there was something at Thanksgiving Point as well.
There's an event at Thanksgiving Point as well tonight. I think Jeff Kaplan is going to be doing his afternoon show from there as well. We try to keep everything organized in one spot. It's all at jewishutah.com/Hanukkah, CHANUKAH. It's a master list of all of our events. It's all over all of our social media platforms. It's at Jewish Utah across the social media spectrum. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of opportunities to partake and make the world a brighter place.
Wonderful. Thanks, Avremi, and wonderful job last night. You weren't just at the podium for a few moments. You presided over that event and really brought a lot of confidence and integrity to it. So thank you, and thank you for inviting my wife and I last evening.
Thank you both.
That was that was an incredible event, and we sat near the front, so I didn't appreciate how crowded it was until it was over, and I stood up, and it was standing room only.
That's great.
And the rotunda is a big facility, so they did a good job. I have to say the state of Utah did a great job at providing security and providing the venue, and Governor Cox, what an amazing man. He rose to the occasion. Well, we want to continue this conversation when we come back and talk with former lawmaker Patrice Arendt, who was also there. I talked to Patrice for a while as she sat there and in the event, and we're going to interview her after this break.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Police are investigating a death they're calling suspicious in Sugar House. A man was found dead outside a motorhome on Lincoln Street, south of 2100 South. Salt Lake City police say they had been called about a fight in the area.
We also had some reports of shots fired in the area to the south of this location at about that same time. So we're checking to see if those might be related.
They say the death doesn't appear to be natural, and they will likely need to do an autopsy to get the cause of death. There'll be heavy law enforcement presence at the Grand County High School today for a training around 10 a.m. It will involve multiple agencies, but there is no emergency. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Corrections officials across the country are faced with a growing threat to security behind bars. Organized crime groups on the outside are using drones to sneak contraband over the prison walls.
It's happened hundreds of times this year alone. Drones dropping drugs, cigarettes, even cell phones and chargers into prison yards to be picked up by a specific inmate. Because the FAA considers drones to be aircraft, prison guards can't shoot them down. Congress is considering legislation to change that.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow started in the positive, went into the negative. Now it's back up 12 points to 48,470. Coming up, we still have delays on I-15 down in Utah County. We'll get a check of traffic and weather next. KSL News Time, 9:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Hurry! It's your last chance to donate for 2025. Last chance! Donate now for a 2025 tax deduction.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. In celebration of over 32 years of serving humans in Utah with their computer and tech needs, we've slashed our prices. And these are the new 2025 models. Here's the deal. You can get our new 2025 S1 desktop with a blazing Ryzen 5 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing fast storage on this promotion. We also have our new 2025 SM3 laptop with the Intel i5 processor, 16 gigs, and over a terabyte of storage for $999. You can take one home today for $999. And you also get the peace of mind of our lifetime service warranty. We also have 12 months special financing available, and they start as low as $29 a month. But hurry in because supplies are limited. Because at PC Laptops, we love you. PCLaptops.com. Take home a blazing fast 2025 model desktop or laptop for $999 at PCLaptops.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Jason Jones.
And Andy, we've got a whole lot of trouble for this time of the morning. This is not typical, but this is what we're seeing right now. We have an accident northbound I-15 in Linden, about 2nd South. Right lane is blocked there, and some pretty decent delays in that stretch. Even bigger delays over on the southbound side as we have this accident blocking the 2 right lanes in the Pleasant Grove area. And those delays are all the way back to about 5th East. And we're seeing some really, really heavy delays if you were southbound on the west side belt out by the airport. We're trying to get on camera there what's happening. It looks like there's an accident in that area as well that's blocking some lanes of traffic. And, yep, pulling it up right now. Three right lanes are blocked, so you're only getting by on the 2 left lanes there. And so you got also heavy delays. So like I said, there's a lot going on for this time of the morning. Looking for the ultimate holiday gift? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. Use code KSL50 online and in stores to receive 50% off. Visit minkycouture.com. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, we're going to see mostly sunny skies, but you can already see the haze out in the valleys. And temperatures only getting to a high of 50 degrees. I say only because tomorrow we could get up to 53 degrees with cloudy skies. Right now it's 34 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Speaking again about our event last evening at the Utah State Capitol, the Hanukkah celebration, one of the people that I ran into there, and it was amazing to see so many friendly faces, but a woman I hadn't seen for some time, a friend of both you and I, Patrice Arendt, former Utah lawmaker, who, by the way, is the only Jewish person who has ever served in the Utah Senate, and she's the past co-president of the National Association of Jewish Legislators. Both her daughter and her son-in-law are rabbis in Chicago. Wow.
Hi, Patrice.
Hello, Holly. Hello, Greg.
Thanks for joining us today. I wondered if we could just start by talking about last night's events, the first night of Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, and how that was juxtaposed with the really sad news that had come out of Australia just a few hours earlier.
I mean, we were all just sickened by what happened in Australia, and it's not unique. Our last major Jewish holiday, our High Holy Days in the fall, we had an attack at another synagogue. I mean, this is just happening and happening. We're all scared. We have increased security everywhere. We're all paying as part of our dues an increased amount to make sure that we have, police presence wherever we are. And it's a very sad comment. The increase in anti-Semitism all over the world is dramatic. And I was glad we could gather together last night. Hanukkah symbolizes the triumph of light over darkness, faith over oppression, and freedom. And so it was a time to get together and gather. I was so happy to see so many members of our community there. And not only were people there, but people were lighting candles all over our state, Jewish people and others.
Patrice, we are hearing more and more about the rise of anti-Semitism in both Australia and the United States. You mentioned worldwide, and I know this is an unfair question, but is there something that you can put a finger on that sort of tells us what's going on, or is it just a broad picture, a broad question that there really isn't a simple answer to?
It's worse than it's ever been in my entire life. The increase started about the time that our president was first getting involved in running for president the first time. People started saying things that they maybe thought but would have never said out loud before. I've had people many times, because they know I'm Jewish in this area. I've represented the area I live in. Now, I'll be putting my groceries in the car at Smith's grocery store, and I'll have people yelling at me, Hitler was right, or calling me a Jesus killer at the gas station. And you never heard that before. But if you look at the numbers compiled by the Anti-Defamation League on hate crimes and what's happened with anti-Semitism, you see a dramatic increase starting about that time I discussed. And it's just gotten worse and worse. Obviously, with what's happened in the Middle East in the last few years, that has certainly added to that situation. And that's interesting because I think about this, and I don't completely agree with everything that's gone on with the Israeli government. But if something horrible had happened, really horrible, in, Ireland, would we be taking it out on the Irish Americans? Not really, but we're taking it out on the Jews that live in the United States in a just sad and scary way.
So your experiences are horrifying, to be honest. What can we as a community who are not part of the Jewish faith, what can we do to better support you?
to call out these horrible actions, to come together. I remember a few decades ago, there was a situation in Montana, in Billings, and there was a white supremacist group that was attacking Jews, and they threw a rock into someone's home, and it almost hit their child. It was a house that was Jewish, and they had a menorah for a Hanukkah in the window, which is typically where we put our menorahs. We put them where people can see them. And the kid was, almost hit with the rock, and the mother spoke out, and next thing you knew, all of the people in that town, almost all of the people, put menorahs in their windows. Some of them were cut out paper menorahs. They all banded together to support the Jewish community and speak out against white supremacists. And so I think it's important to support it, no matter what it is, whether it's Jews or other groups that are experiencing really horrible hatred right now. We need to support those groups.
Patrice, in our last segment, we interviewed Avremi Zippel, Rabbi Avremi, and he talked about the fact that there was a point when maybe there were some conversation as to whether or not to even have the event. Of course, there was no way they were not going to have it. They did have it. It was well attended. It was incredibly well attended, and don't you think that was a light in this darkness, to hear from the governor, to hear from his father, Benny, to just see the number of people that were there and just packed that venue last night?
It was wonderful. I will say, though, it's usually pretty packed. That's a well-attended event every year. There will be other events. Mayor Mendenhall is hosting something this week for Salt Lake City. I mean, there will be a lot of events, and they are typically well-attended.
So what is something that you would like our listeners to know about the Jewish community in Utah in general?
Well, our Jewish community has been here for many, many generations. We are part of this community. We have been for a long time. We want the support of all people, just like we want to support you. As Greg talked about where he was Saturday night at the Tabernacle Choir's Christmas concert, that's where I was Saturday night. We all need to be there to support each other. And I just think that's really, and to speak out against this. I mean, when people see it, if it's something that you may even think is small, someone put a swastika on a home in St. George, not because they were, and this was recently, not because they were attacking that particular home, but it's because it was seen by everyone going through on the golf course. They wanted everyone to see this. They wanted everyone to see the symbol. We see more people involved with kind of the neo-Nazi movement today than we ever have, and that includes people in our home state. I've had a white supremacist casing out my house. So I think we all need to speak out, and we all need to support our neighbors, no matter what religion, no matter what background.
Patrice, can you educate our listeners a little bit about Hanukkah and what happened last night, the lighting, and what the next week or two is like?
Hanukkah is a celebration that commemorates the Maccabees' victory over the Greek Syrian oppressors and this miraculous 8-day burning of the oil in the temple in Jerusalem. So we have, every night we light the helper candle, the Shamus candle, as you saw last night, and then one candle for the first night, 2 for the second night, 3 for the third night, all the way up to the 8th night. It's not like Christmas. Yes, we do some gift giving, but it's kind of not as much as Christmas. It's not quite that kind of a blowout. It's very much focused on the food and the traditions and the prayers and the songs. And so we'll all be celebrating in our homes. For the most part, it's something you do in your homes, but also in group gatherings throughout this entire week, these 8 nights.
That's really awesome. Thank you again for joining us today. That was Patrice Arent, former Utah lawmaker, both a representative and a senator, talking to us about the event and what she's been facing as a member of the Jewish community right here in Utah.
And I have to say, it just brought a smile to my face to see her last night, because I hadn't talked to her for a while. She and I are obviously involved with one another, part of the Democratic Party over the last few years, and to see her in that capacity, and just she brought a great presence to that meeting last night. There was no question about it.
I remember the story that she told about Idaho and the menorahs in the windows. I thought that was that was really great. That was a great story. I think it still leads into, are we afraid to attend religious events, or should we be afraid, right, that if we're going to be targeted? So not only have we had the LDS church shooting, but certainly I think the Jewish community has been targeted, but so has the Muslim community. They've been targeted as well.
Do we have some breaking news here? We're hearing that some LA residents have been arrested in a New Year's Eve plot. We'll be live press conference. We'll go to that now.
bombs. They had everything they needed to make an operational bomb at that location, and they were subsequently arrested by the FBI before they could build a functional explosive device. Shortly after the defendants were taken into custody, the FBI executed multiple search warrants, including at the defendants' Southern California residence and other locations throughout the country. I'll highlight some of the items found during those searches over the weekend. For example, in Carroll's residence, law enforcement found multiple posters and materials associated with Turtle Island Liberation Front, including posters stating, quote, "Death to America, long live Turtle Island and Palestine," and, quote, "Death to ICE, Turtle Island Liberation Front." In Page's residence, law enforcement found a copy of the detailed bomb attack plan. This case is another reminder about the dangers that radicalized Antifa-like groups pose to public safety and the rule of law. Through the tireless work of our prosecutors in my office and our law enforcement partners, which you will hear from today, we disrupted this terror plot before buildings were demolished or innocent people were killed. But this is not the end of our work. My office is committed to extinguishing the far-left terror threats that we face, and will continue to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The 4 defendants arrested will make their initial appearance this afternoon at the federal court in downtown Los Angeles. They are each considered innocent until proven guilty. I will now turn it over to the Assistant Director in Charge of the FBI LA office, Akil Davis.
Good morning. Again, my name is Akil Davis. I'm the Assistant Director in Charge of the FBI's Los Angeles Division. As we're all aware, we've had a busy weekend in this country and abroad with bad news incidents one after another. Today, we are announcing a major victory in our collective effort to protect the American people. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force intercepted a scheme by members of a violent extremist group we believed determined to detonate explosives at multiple businesses on New Year's Eve. Last Friday, the FBI arrested 4 of those subjects near 29 Palms in San Bernardino County while they planned and rehearsed their attack. The 4 subjects are members of a radical faction of the Turtle Island Liberation Front, TILF, a violent, homegrown anti-government group. The subject arrested envisioned planting backpacks with improvised explosive devices to be detonated at multiple locations in Southern California, targeting U.S. companies. These bombs were to blow up at the same time on midnight this New Year's Eve. The plan stated that the IEDs would be complex pipe bombs. It included instructions on how to manufacture the bombs and contained guidance on how to avoid leaving evidence behind that could be traced back to them. Our investigation uncovered evidence in that the group would test the explosives in the desert. And we're going to show footage of that here in a second. We learned that the alleged co-conspirators had recently started acquiring precursor chemicals and other items necessary to accomplish this task. In recent days, the alleged co-conspirators discussed plans to travel to the desert on the 12th to detonate the explosives. Knowing this, the FBI's JTTF and the FBI Los Angeles field office staged multiple SWAT teams, special agent bomb technicians, our evidence response team, along with the FBI's elite hostage rescue team in the desert to disrupt this plan before any harm could occur. Because of this, we were able to disrupt their plan. All 4 group members were taken into custody without incident. The TILF Instagram account publicly posts content that advocates for violence against United States officials. A recent post called for a revolution and asked for supporters to organize and be ready. The FBI, as you have seen here, can also organize and be ready. We could not have accomplished these arrests without the exceptional assistance from our partners on the Joint Terrorism Task Force. I specifically want to thank the following agencies, as you see up here today: the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the Los Angeles Police Department, the Palm Springs Police Department, along with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. I also want to recognize the following FBI field offices as this investigation crossed the entire country: the New Orleans Division, the Buffalo Division, Indianapolis Division, and the Boston Division, who, as you all know, have had their hands full this weekend. In fact, an additional was arrest by our partners at FBI New Orleans in support of this investigation. I will now turn it over to the Los Angeles Police Chief, Jim McDonald.
We're hearing a press conference. Federal authorities have arrested 4 in an extremist group bombing plot in California that happened on New Year's Eve this year.
Los Angeles Police Department is proud to stand alongside our federal, state, and local partners today to announce the arrest stemming from a coordinated domestic terror plot. The case underscores the persistent threat posed by extremist groups and individuals, as well as the critical need for law enforcement agencies to remain vigilant in protecting our communities. The successful disruption of this plot is a powerful testament to the strength of our unified response, driven by the collaboration and tireless efforts of the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, along with our allied agencies. Together, we have prevented a potential tragedy and reaffirmed our shared commitment to safeguarding our communities. I want to personally thank the dedicated men and women from every agency involved. Their relentless work over the past several days has ensured that those responsible were apprehended swiftly and safely and without harm to our neighborhoods. Thank you. I'm going to call up Sheriff of Los Angeles County, Robert Luna.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here to cover this, what I believe is a very, very important story for our community. This successful operation was a result of quick, proactive investigative work, and I want to emphasize strong collaboration. And ADIC Akil Davis mentioned it and gave credit to all the law enforcement here in Southern California. It is better here, it always has been, than anywhere else in the country, and we're very proud to be part of the Joint Terrorism Task Force. For us at the Sheriff's Department, we've been part of it since after 9/11. Their ability to share intelligence across multiple agencies, investigating threats like this one, is second to none anywhere else. The way we coordinate with partner agencies and act quickly was critical to the success of this operation. And like I said before, there's no other area like here in LA County with our partnership that has been here for years with the FBI and LAPD and the other law enforcement agencies around us. Since this threat was uncovered last week, our Sheriff's Task Force officers and intelligence analysts working closely with our law enforcement partners have been working around the clock to verify information, identify targets, and piece together this plot that you've heard described. Their strong investigative efforts, sharp situational awareness, and rapid response ensured that this threat was stopped before it ever had a chance to be carried out. I'm incredibly proud of the professionalism and dedication shown by the men and women who worked tirelessly to bring this threat to an end before it could cause harm to anybody in our community. To our community, I know hearing about these incidents like this can be unsettling, especially in the light of the recent Brown University mass shooting and the Sydney, Australia terrorist attack. But today serves as a powerful reminder that strong collaboration between federal, state, and local law enforcement can prevent violence before it occurs. As we enter the holiday season, a time when families and friends come together across traditions, cultures, and beliefs, this incident is a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and to be prepared at all times. Vigils whose goal is to divide us, to instill fear, and to target the very diversity that makes our country strong. I want to be very clear, what you see here, this investigative work and the follow-up that's been done shows that they will not succeed. Our community's diversity is our strength, and protecting every member of our community is our primary duty. Whether you are celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's, or simply gathering with loved ones, you deserve to feel safe. We are committed to ensuring that safety today and every day. We remain dedicated to protecting our entire community through ongoing intelligence gathering and threat assessments, strengthening partnerships across all of our agencies, engaging with the public to promote awareness, vigilance, and resilience. And finally, I encourage everyone to stay alert, trust your instincts, and report suspicious activity. And as we always say in law enforcement, if you see something, read something, or say something, your awareness, your eyes and ears can help us protect the entire community as we did in this incident. I will now introduce the police chief of the Palm Springs Police Department, Andy Mills.
Well, good morning, and first of all, thank you so much, Assistant Director Davis, for the spectacular job that the FBI did on this case. We were just in a very supportive role, only making sure that the FBI had what they needed in the desert to execute their mission. But on a larger perspective, I just want our community to know that this gives me hope. It gives me hope because of the unified effort of all of law enforcement, from the Sheriff's Office to LAPD, San Bernardino Sheriffs, and the FBI, working together to make sure that people like this are removed from the community so they can be prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office, to make sure that all of us can live in peace. And this is what our mission is to make sure that there's hope in all of our communities. So thank you very much for the spectacular job that the A-team showed up and did.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that. Obviously, there's some disagreements amongst our agencies over things like immigration enforcement, but when it comes to other areas of law enforcement where it matters to keep the public safe, whether that's protecting the girls on Figueroa Street or the Palm Springs investigation, there is no gap in the cooperation between the federal government and local government, and we do thank the sheriff, the police chiefs for your valuable assistance. It would be very difficult for us to do a lot of what we do without their assistance, so I do want to thank you, each and every one of you. With that, we'll open it up to a few questions. Oh, we're going to play the video. All right, play the video. And this is, the video is, do you want to describe the video?
Yeah, I'll describe the video. So, as I mentioned in my talking points, on December 12th, a group of individuals, again, members of this anti-government group, traveled out to the desert to test their explosive devices. They had precursor chemicals there, and they were going to create these bombs in the desert. What they are starting to do is put their chemicals and wares and the components out on the table there. This footage that you're watching is from our surveillance plane, and then what happened after this is the Los Angeles FBI SWAT team, along with the FBI's hostage rescue team, moved in and arrested all 4 subjects without incident.
So now we'll take some questions. Yeah, we're not naming the victim companies, but I'll generally describe them as logistics centers. You can think of like Amazon-type logistics centers, but we're not naming the specific companies at this time. Can you elaborate on the locations? There were at least 5 locations that they intended to target within Orange County and Los Angeles County. Again, we're not giving out the specific sites, but they were willing and wanting to do more if they could recruit more members to their radical efforts there.
You mentioned the arrest in New Orleans. Do you guys think that there are other people involved? And you mentioned some other locations.
There are definitely more members to this group. As far as who was specifically involved in this New Year's Eve terror plot, we believe we've arrested all the members who were specifically involved in that particular plot. We did execute search warrants to people who are also part of this group. As we review that evidence, if we determine that there are any other individuals who knew about this or provided any assistance, we will obviously be charging them as well. Person arrested in Louisiana is not directly tied to this incident, but he is a member of this group. And when they executed the search warrant out there, he posed a great threat to the agents. He threatened the agents, and so that's why he's under arrest.
Do you believe you thwarted what would have happened on New Year's Eve, or do you think there's the others that are still planning to go forward with something?
Well, obviously, the FBI has a very robust national security investigators. They look out for domestic terrorism as well as international terrorism. Do you want to talk more about your activities with the Joint Terrorism Task Force?
So this investigation is ongoing, as the United States just stated. Members of this group or associates of this group or any collaborators in this group, we are looking at as a result of this investigation. To answer your question, we do believe that we have disrupted this plot for New Year's Eve, but like I said, the investigation is ongoing.
As far as
We've been listening to a press conference. Federal authorities have announced today that they made the arrest, and I didn't articulate this very well at the outset, of 4 alleged members of an extremist group who were suspected of planning a coordinated bombing attack on New Year's Eve across Southern California. They're apparently members of an offshoot pro-Palestinian group called the Turtle Island Liberation Front. They each face charges including conspiracy and possession of a destructive device, court documents show. The group is alleged to have been plotting to set off a series of bombings at multiple targets, as we just heard, in California beginning on New Year's Eve, and also plan to target immigration and customs enforcement agents and vehicles, Attorney General Pam Bondi said on social media. We'll have more on that about that later on, either today or tomorrow. We'll be right back.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, dreaming of a white Christmas maybe as far as we get, as unusually warm weather sweeps the state. But Utah ski resorts are manufacturing and grooming as much snow as possible. And Allison Palmentier from Ski Utah seems hopeful for this coming ski season.
We're optimistic that will change soon, and it looks like there's some weather on its way for next week. And sometimes we just have a slower start to the winter season, but the snow really does come eventually, so we're not too worried.
Currently, many of Utah's iconic resorts are pretty sparse in their selection of lifts and trails open, with resorts like Park City having only 20 inches of base snow. Conditions are expected to get better, however, as we get deeper into the winter. That snow, though, won't be showing up this week. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says too warm.
We've got some rain chances. Best chance for rain this week will be Wednesday and again on Saturday. There will be some other days throughout the 7-day where we could see some 20 to 30, maybe 40% chances for rain. But again, Wednesday and Saturday have the best chance for rain.
Highs will be in the 50s, overnight lows in the 30s and 40s. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Authorities are again searching for a person seen on a short video clip in the Brown University shooting that killed 2 students and injured 9 others. Officials are not recommending another shelter-in-place order despite the renewed search. Your money at this moment, the Dow down 85 points to 48,373. Coming up, along with that warmer weather, we've got traffic problems down in Utah County. We'll check traffic and weather together next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. See website for details.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Never have I ever called my sister
from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture. And then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay, plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America Visa's Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Let's check in again with Jason Jones.
And Andy, it's looking better now southbound I-15 in Pleasant Grove. They've cleared that accident. There's just one emergency vehicle left over on the right shoulder. So most of the delays are gone there. And likewise, northbound side of I-15 at 2nd South in Linden, that accident's over to the right shoulder, so not blocking any lanes there, although there's still a little bit heavier delays at that point. Southbound up on the west side belt, though, still fairly crowded and still fairly slow because we do have this accident. It's about 450 north is the spot for it, and the 2 right lanes are blocked still, so you're just moving over to the left. The delays are all the way back to about 17th north at this point. The rescue mission of Salt Lake restores lives of homeless people and hurting people by addressing the cause of homelessness and helping people return to work. Help Rescue Mission restore lives. Donate at rescuesaltlake.org. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, it'll be sunny. Highs in the 50s today. Expect a cold night. Lows dropping to about 30 degrees. It was 28 degrees this morning, so we'll see if it gets there again. By now, it's 36 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We will be continuing our coverage of the tragic shooting in Australia at the Hanukkah celebration throughout the show today. But let's dial in on what we know about another shooting that occurred at Brown University over the weekend. At least 2 people were killed.
Too much. It's
Yeah.
just too much.
And 9 others injured in a shooting at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Providence Police Department said that a person of interest had been detained and that a shelter-in-place order had been lifted. I think both of those have now changed because the person of interest has been released, and I only mentioned that the shelter-in-place order was lifted has been changed also because I'm looking at a statement from the Brown University itself which says this: we are very sorry to share that we have confirmed reports that 2 deceased victims from an active shooting situation at the Barris and Holly Engineering Building. There are 8 additional victims in critical but stable condition at the hospital. There remains a shelter-in-place order. So that number of injured is up to 9, 2 dead.
Yeah, that's, it's just so sad. We have another shooting. A couple of things stood out to me about this one. One is that the gunman, which they don't know who it is yet, went into like an auditorium. Like it wasn't just like outside on a sidewalk. He went into where people were studying. They were doing a final exam review and started shooting.
Yeah, and Providence, Rhode Island Mayor Brett Smiley spoke to ABC's George Stephanopoulos at Good Morning America about the person of interest being released.
To be clear, we've never stopped our investigation. The Providence Police and our partners at State Police, the FBI, and others have continuously run down leads and worked this case beyond the person of interest who had been detained yesterday.
So you're absolutely convinced the person of interest had nothing to do with this?
We're not saying that definitively. What we're saying is that after a review of the evidence that was gathered, it was determined that the person of interest needed to be released.
I get the sense that there was some concern that after the person of interest had been detained, that there was a sense of stand down. We've got the person in
Uh-huh.
custody. What he's saying is, no, we never quit our investigation. We've always been moving forward. Stephanopoulos goes, so this isn't the right person. He's saying, no, I'm not saying that either, but I'm saying we don't have enough to keep him in custody. So there is again a shelter-in-place order apparently at the university, and you said that it actually at the time some students were detained in their buildings.
Yeah, that they spent the night just locked in classrooms because of this shelter-in-place order. I wanted to ask you a question about a person of interest, because what this reminds me of is the Boston Marathon bombing, where a person of interest was detained and accused, but he wasn't the guy.
Right. Yeah, and so what happens sometimes is they'll have the police will do an investigation. They'll take somebody in custody. Of course, the media wants to know, why is this person in custody?
Right.
Well, they're a person of interest.
Were they in custody, or was he just
detained?
Being talked to?
Yeah. So detained means you're not going anywhere. It doesn't necessarily mean you're in jail. You could be at a police station with officers standing around you. Like you're not leaving. They take him or her into custody. That's a weird word that we use because we think of that being in jail, but you can be in custody in the backseat of a police car for that matter, and then release him. So it doesn't require full booking or charging or anything like that. But a person of interest is a term of art that we use in the legal community because it's a person of interest is just that. It's a self-defining word. But, hey, we think this person may have something to do with this case. They detain them. They do what they need to do, and then at some point they decide that he is not involved, or at least not to the point where they can continue to detain him, so they have to release him. Doesn't mean they're not continuing negotiations and discussions with him or her. I know where you're going here, which is sometimes they release the name of the person of interest, and that can be really troubling.
Sure. So, I'm looking at an ABC News story because I saw this on X, actually. There was a student who was leading this lecture hall. He was leading the final review. His name is Joseph Oduro, and he said he saw the gunman come in through the door and locked eyes with him. This is his quote. I immediately, when I saw him, I saw a gun. The gun was so big and long, I genuinely thought okay, this is the end of the road for me. How scary, right? So he was in the room with about 50 or 60 students. There was a big commotion, screams, gunshots outside the door, and then 5 seconds later, he said he saw a gunman walk in. And it's just, really, really tragic and scary. And what was interesting, what struck me with another article I saw with the Providence police chief, the mayor that you just mentioned, is that a lot of the kids, their active shooter drills from elementary, junior high, high school kicked in. And he said it's super tragic that we even have to have these drills, and yet here we are, right? And that they turned out to be beneficial when there was an active shooter on campus.
Yeah, when I'm a kid, we do earthquake drills.
We did nuclear drills.
Alarms.
We were hiding under our desk because we thought Russia was going to send a nuke over.
Right, now you do active shooter drills, which is just tragic. I mean, we were both spared that phenomena when we were in school, but it seems to be something that just continues, and we deal with it every couple of weeks. And we don't know anything about the individual. We don't know anything about what was targeted or why.
Well, we know he was male, and he was dressed in all black and had a big gun. At least we know that part,
and
right?
There are pictures of him. But right now, he is still a person who hasn't been found. It sounds like the Providence and surrounding area police departments are really taking this as job one and trying to do anything they can to find this person, to detain this person. There's always something we learn from the Charlie Kirk shooting. We learn from a lot of these where the shooter may get away for a minute. Even the robbery of the Louvre. I mean, we thought, boy, the guys got away with it, but there's so much going on right now with the ability of law enforcement to do their job better than ever that I bet that we have a person in custody before the end of the week.
So, yes, that's probably true. One of the things I've seen, too, is that Brown University, especially in this area, didn't have a lot of security cameras. I'm guessing that will change after this.
Unfortunately, it always does. Yeah.
And, this student that was leading this final exam review, he said waiting for the gunshots to stop felt like 14 days. I'm sure it did, right? It just felt like forever. I will say Brown University canceled the rest of the semester, so there's no more finals, no more classes. They're done for the semester.
Yeah, and a hall like that with a number of people like that, I mean, the potential for serious serious number of individuals to be shot and killed was great. Of course, 9 injured, 2 dead is a significant number.
Yeah.
It could have been greater. We don't know whether any of the 9 are still in critical condition or what their condition is, and we know very little about the suspect, except, like you said, a sort of a vague description that could fit just about anybody.
Not a female.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
So, we've been talking about Australia this morning, and we're going to continue to talk about that when we come back after the break. But we know that at least 15 people are dead. We know that at least 40 were hospitalized. And we're going to talk about what we know about the victims, the 2 shooters, and the brave man who tackled one of the shooters next when we come back.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
You may not believe this from looking outside and watching the weather over the last few days, but winter's coming. Believe me, it's coming, and it's coming fast. And a lot of kids here in Utah don't have the warm coats and shoes that they need to get them through the cold months ahead.
KSL's Quarters for Christmas has been helping local children for years, turning your donations into warm coats and shoes for kids right here in our own community.
Every dollar you give goes directly toward providing coats and shoes for kids who need them most. It's easy to make a difference. Just go online to kslquarters.com, donate whatever you can, and know you're helping keep a child warm this winter.
Please join us in spreading a little comfort and a lot of kindness with KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
Most diets will help you lose a few pounds, but Soda Weight Loss will help you lose years. I lost 37 pounds on the Soda Weight Loss program 3 years ago, and I feel younger than I've felt in decades. And it's not because of how I look, it's because of how I feel.
But you do look younger,
Thank
too.
you.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and then I looked at the before and after pictures of myself and was like, wow.
It's something when you don't have to carry all of that excess weight around. And I was at a stage in my life where I didn't want to add drugs to my regimen. I wanted to reduce the number of medications I had to take. So the nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss taught me how to have a healthy relationship with food.
And it was so helpful that I could text my nutritionist anytime I wanted to for advice, which helped me learn what I needed to know so that I could keep it off. And right now, this is the perfect time to join, because if you join now, your partner joins for free. It's the perfect gift for both of you.
It's at Soda Weight Loss.
SOTAweightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes in new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show Friday 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times, but take it from me, I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The new Inside Sources.
Police say 2 gunmen opened fire on Sydney's Bondi Beach on the first night of Hanukkah. This happened yesterday, Holly, and at least 15 people, including one of the shooters, died. The other shooter is in custody. ABC News correspondent Jordana Miller told Utah's Morning News a little bit more about the shooters.
This turns out to be a father and son duo. The father was killed at the scene, and the son has been injured pretty seriously, but he's in stable condition in hospital. It has to be said that this attack, which has really sent shockwaves through not only the Jews of Australia, but really around the world, a brazen, murderous attack on the first night of Hanukkah. And I think it's a sad commentary that we're seeing these anti-Semitic targeted attacks on Jews happening on their holidays, right? We have to remember October 7th was a holiday as well. There's a lot of anger here in Israel over this attack because the Israeli Prime Minister said that he had warned the Australian Prime Minister months before that there was an environment that could increasingly endanger the Jewish community and that more needed to be done to safeguard them. And he is claiming that not enough was done.
It's always hard to know. And one of the things that we do know about Australia is they do have pretty strict gun laws. And so sometimes I'm seeing some stuff online saying, well, they still got guns. Yes, that is true. And it is really sad. Also, they haven't had nearly as many mass shootings as we have in the United States. But one of the things that really, really struck me, and if you haven't seen this video, Greg, you'll need to watch it for sure.
I've seen it.
But the man that just, he's a fruit stand vendor, and one of the things I saw is this out of shape dad is like, okay, I'm going to go take this guy out. And he does. And he tackles one of the gunmen and pulls the gun away.
Yeah, he sees a gunman sort of standing behind a tree, it looks like, and he runs up behind him. I mean, talk about brave. Grabs him, and there's a fight over a gun.
Yeah.
And the tackler ended up with the gun, took it away from the shooter, and ABC's Jordana Miller has more on what the police have to say about this bystander's response.
Meanwhile, if we look at some of the videos that were taken by bystanders, we see that these 2 gunmen opened fire for almost 7 minutes, which is an incredibly long time, before they were taken down by police and by a very, very heroic Australian citizen who happened to just be there, though he wasn't the target. And he tackled the father and took him down, wrestled his weapon from him, and enabled police to get closer to him. And he stopped what could have been an even larger massacre on the Jews of Australia. That whole heroic tackling captured on video, and it's been circulating online now, really just about an hour after the attack unfolded yesterday.
Can you imagine what it took? the amount of courage it took to run up behind a man who is an active shooter
Yeah.
with a loaded long rifle in
Yep.
his, and then wrestle it from him. I mean, that could have ended horribly, but what a hero.
The man who did it, his name is Ahmed Al-Ahmed, and he is a Syrian Muslim. He's been in Australia since 2006, and he was shot himself. So the other shooter, whoever it was, I don't know if he tackled the son or he tackled the dad.
The father.
Okay, so the other one shot him. He was shot twice. He is in the hospital doing interviews saying it's starting to really hurt.
I guess.
But he has had surgery. He has at least 5 bullet wounds. And this man, right? I mean, you're right. It does take courage. And also, I think in the moment, I don't think that he stopped to evaluate. I think he just acted, right? You don't sit there and ask yourselves, well, gee, should I run after this guy? I think he just acted on instinct, and it was a good one.
You know, and he sees someone, he's behind the individual. He's got a gun. Obviously, he's firing, and he takes a chance. If you watch the video, it was an incredibly smart chance. He runs up and grabs the guy from behind, but then you've got the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And how's this going to end up if you're the bystander? You know, if he ends up fighting and gets the gun from you, it's over.
Right.
It's over. But he ends up taking the gun from the gunman, and then the gunman sort of goes down to the ground as though he's surrendering, but then gets up again, probably runs off, and he's ultimately killed. So he must have done something more to justify police shooting. We do know a little bit more about some of the other victims. Here's ABC's Jordana Miller.
The victims are slowly being identified. 2 of them are Australian police officers. The others seem to be largely Jews from the community, the local community there in Sydney. Among them, 2 rabbis, a Holocaust survivor, and unfortunately a young girl, just 10 years old.
Yeah, the age range from the victims was something like 10 to 87. And a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
Imagine that. He survived the Holocaust.
I want to talk about him a little bit. His name is Alexander Kleitman, and he's 87. That's the oldest one that you mentioned. He was part of the Holocaust in Europe in the 1940s. He was killed shielding his wife, who was also a Holocaust survivor. And a lot of Australia's Jewish community was actually founded by people who were escaping the Holocaust.
Yeah, I mean, again, another hero, and we learn about this. This was an interesting event because it was like a beach party.
Right.
It was at the Bondi Beach, the Hanukkah celebration. Sounds like a wonderful venue to do it. I mean, I'm sure it could have had the possibility of being a beautiful event, but it's open air. It's like like Charlie Kirk shootings. Sometimes when you're outside in an area like that, and I know that there's been some criticism of Australian officials for their lack of security, but it's hard to provide security for something like that. It's so expansive, and what do? I mean, it's at a beach, which is what the community wanted to do. You can't prevent it from occurring, and it's nobody's fault, but I don't know that you can blame Australian authorities on the fact that this happened.
Australia is already, the Prime Minister has already proposed some new gun restrictions. But I want to tell you a little bit more about this Holocaust victim, Holocaust survivor and shooting victim from yesterday. He was born in Ukraine, believe it or not, and he and his wife immigrated 50 years ago to escape the USSR, which used to be the Soviet Union, right?
Yes.
And he was there to celebrate Hanukkah, and as the shootings began, he tried to and did protect his wife. She was not killed, but he was killed. So, amazing story.
And I guess when you consider events like this again, we have to ask ourselves, what do we think about public events? How do we continue to hold these events? And I hearken back to Avremi Zippel, a rabbi who spoke with us earlier today, who said, if you cancel, you've let them win.
You let them win.
You've let them win. Yeah. So you go ahead and you do it. Obviously, you take greater steps to prevent something from occurring again, whether that means greater sense of security or metal detectors or whatever it is. But, I mean, you can't just let this stop what you're doing. And just in Australia, this beach area, big, beautiful beach on what would for them is middle of summer. I'm sure it was an incredible event, but it ended horribly.
I think, part of the conversation with do you feel safe to go to public events? I mean, I think we've been having that conversation in Utah because of the Charlie Kirk shooting down at UVU. And we've talked multiple times. The students are still feeling the effects. Some of them are afraid. Some of them don't want to go to big public events, right? And you mentioned, you and I were both at the choir concert for the Tabernacle Choir, the Christmas concert. There's 21,000 people 3 nights in a row going into this venue. And yeah, there's some security. I mean, obviously we felt safe enough to go, but I wonder how much of a dampening effect these ongoing attacks will have, if any. Maybe they won't.
Yeah, hopefully not at all. And we can continue to have events and move on with that. When we come back after the break, Deseret News opinion editor Jay Evenson joins us to talk about the rise of religious persecution worldwide and what we're talking about today with respect to Australia and other venues. Stay with us.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, one of 2 men accused of kidnapping and torturing a man in Sandy will be sentenced today. Justin Patrick McCrory and Malachi James Bobo both agreed to plead guilty on 2 second-degree felony charges for actions the court says happened last March.
They both agreed that if they violate their probation, they will go to prison on each of the 1 to 15s and that those sentences will run back-to-back, so consecutive.
That's KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. Bobo's already been sentenced and is serving 4 years of probation, in addition to the 200 days of jail already served. McCrory's sentencing happens this morning. McCrory and Bobo have been accused of robbing a man, then beating him for hours with a baseball bat. A North Ogden man is facing criminal charges in connection to a crash that killed a woman 2 years ago. Court documents say Yosef Luchini Gedeon used his phone while he was crossing several lanes of traffic and crashed into a car head-on. A toxicology report also found meth in his system at the time. The woman died instantly. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer, were found dead in their Los Angeles home last night. Police are investigating, say they were stabbed to death. ABC's Trevor Ault is near the scene.
The LAPD did give an update late last night, but they provided very few details. They wouldn't even confirm the deceased couple found inside the home was Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer, even though the mayor did confirm it. What police tell us at this time is that they do not yet have a firm suspect. We know investigators are still poring over the scene.
And an update to that report from Trevor Ault is the pair's son has been taken into custody as a person of interest. Your money at this moment, the Dow is still in the negative, down 134 points. That's a quarter of a percent, at 48,326. Coming up, it's going to be surprisingly warm for December, but moisture on the way later in the week. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Well, the holidays are really here. Things are speeding up. I know exactly what we all need to do, and that's head into the Western Nut Company. I'm here with Sarah, and you can take care of it all.
We love the holidays, and we try to make it seamless for our customers to enjoy our gift baskets and our fudge and our brittle and all the things that make it the holidays.
Western Nut is perfect for corporate giving and also for your family and your friends and your neighbors.
For corporate gifting, we have a team that's ready to take your list and ship it right from our store.
You know what I love is Dee and I go into Western Nut and the Mothership, which is right there on 4th and 3rd West, and we just let you guys take care of it all. We select the gift and you guys ship them off, especially to Dee's family in Missouri.
Western Nut's been doing this since 1966, and we've got it down. All the things that you need to cover everybody on your list.
A good place to start is by going online at westernnut.com. That's westernut.com.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investorday. This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
At BMW of Pleasant Grove, we believe that driving should be more than just a commute. It should be an experience. Feel the perfect fusion of performance, technology, and luxury with our stunning lineup of new and certified pre-owned BMWs. From the exhilarating drive of a 3 or 5 Series to the spacious elegance of an X7, experience a transparent and effortless car buying experience. Visit us at bmwofpg.com. BMW of Pleasant Grove. The ultimate driving machine is closer than you think.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Jason Jones.
And Andy, all of the accidents we had in Utah County have cleared, so no delays down there anymore, which is really nice. And they just finished clearing this accident southbound on the West Side Belt at about 450 north. There is still a semi off to the right shoulder and an emergency vehicle there as well, but all lanes have reopened and most of the delays are gone. The rest of your commute is looking fine. There's no other trouble on I-15. On your major feeders over to I-15 are also looking good. No problem into the canyons either. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today. It'll be sunny with highs in the 50s. Expect a cold night with lows dropping to about 30 degrees. But it will continue to warm up through Wednesday, but that's when the rain comes in. Right now it's 39 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We've been reporting all morning about the tragic events that unfolded during the weekend, including a shooting at Brown University and a Hanukkah celebration in Australia. The attack in Australia just rattled the world, and I was able to attend, Holly, last night, a Hanukkah event here in Utah at the state capitol and listen to the words of Rabbi Benny Zippel.
It is the victory of good over evil, of light over darkness. With the sadness and with the grief, we have to evoke and arouse from within ourselves added joy.
And that was Rabbi Benny talking about if there was ever a time when we do need to continue these celebrations, as opposed to standing back and saying, oh, there's too much danger, that we need to go ahead and hold these events and show that there is light over darkness.
We have Jay Evenson with us. He's the opinion editor of the Deseret News. And Jay, you mentioned just before we started this segment that this is not new.
Well, that's not really comforting to know, but it's true. It's not new. 100 years ago, we were dealing with something a little different. We were dealing with anarchists, and they were causing a lot of problems and terrorism. People have forgotten there was a horse-drawn carriage that rolled into Wall Street in 1920, and when it was detonated, it was full of dynamite, and nobody knew that. They detonated it, and 39 people were killed. And this is the very heart of our financial center in New York. They never solved that crime. They never arrested anybody. There were also mail bombs sent to business leaders, industry leaders, politicians, journalists. Some of them detonated, some of them didn't. They succeeded in assassinating a U.S. president, William McKinley, Leon Czolgosz, who was an anarchist. So we were dealing with a similar type of thing then. I wish I could say that we could look back in those years and learn something from how it was handled. Generally, it wasn't handled very well. They were rounding up people who they thought were guilty or were members of the anarchist movement, and they weren't always very successful. But people didn't stop doing what they were doing. People kept having outdoor events and that type of thing, which I think we can learn from. I think terrorists, one of their main goals is to make you believe that they're everywhere and that they're a huge movement, when in fact they're not. With a handful of people, you can cause a lot of havoc that brings fear to people and maybe changes or makes them want to change how they operate. I think it's very important that we not do that. And the other thing that I would say is it's very important that this hero in Australia who tackled the gunman and may have saved many more lives, Ahmed El Ahmed, we need to really play him up. We need to recognize and applaud him. It's too easy to have terrorist acts breed other terrorist acts. I think, though, you can have copycats for good if you really laud the people who are good and heroic and doing the right thing. So I would like to see more done to recognize what this person who I believe is a Muslim.
Mm-hmm. He is from Syria.
Yeah, what he did to save the lives of many Israelis is commendable and speaks more to who we are as human beings than anything a terrorist could do.
Yeah, and he is, by all accounts, he risked his life. I mean, that was frightening if you watch that video.
He was shot twice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We spoke earlier today, Jay, with Patrice Arendt, former legislator here in Utah, prominent member of the Jewish community, and she said something that really struck me, and that I guess I hadn't appreciated, and that is that she is currently seeing and hearing more anti-Semitic rhetoric because she's known as a Jewish Utahn, and so people recognize her. But she said it's something she hasn't seen before.
And I've read about that as well. This morning I was reading about Australia, where they've had a threefold increase in anti-Semitic attacks and rhetoric. Some of it may be spurred by the situation in Gaza and people, if you feel like you're at war, then you feel justified in killing people, unfortunately. And that may be spurring some of it. But there's been a rise, I believe, in anti-religious rhetoric in general worldwide. And the Catholic Church comes out with a report every year on this, and they came out with one, I believe it was in October, that said there's been a huge rise in this type of a thing. It's a concern. I mean, we have an office in the United States, to the Ambassador for Religious Liberty at Large. I think we need to be doing more with that office to not only try to stem this, but maybe in our interactions with foreign countries, making this a point that you either have to stem your anti-religious activities here, or we're not going to do business with you.
I think one of the things, Jay, is that people want to paint somebody from a particular religious background as the person representative of the entire religion. And I think we've seen it with the LDS religion. We've seen it certainly with Muslim, Muslim religion. What can regular everyday people do to help, I guess, really promote religious freedom is really what it is.
Yeah. It's a very good question. I think what we as a media can do is focus and spotlight on who the victims are. Regular people with friends and family and loved ones, and who have done great things in their lives. I learned early on, I was a police reporter in Las Vegas, and we had certain rules about which murders we covered and which ones we didn't. And there was one that was it was a case that was really quickly solved. It was the ex-boyfriend who killed his ex-girlfriend. And I did 2 paragraphs on it, and I'll never forget, I got a call from the mother saying, why was my daughter not worth all the ink that you gave other murder victims? I ended up spending an afternoon with her, learning all about her and how much her daughter meant to her, and did a much larger story. But it taught me something. We need to understand these victims as beautiful, regular human beings, just like you and me, with families that they love and ambitions and things they want to do in life. I think that the more we can humanize those victims, perhaps that would help. But it's a difficult question.
You mentioned the situation in Gaza and the Israeli response to that, but it seems, Jay, as though some of the anti-Semitism had started even before that. I know that may have exacerbated it and caused more public outrage and public concern, but there's something going on that's causing a little bit of this anti-Semitism to the point where we haven't seen it in the past. And I don't know that we can put a handle on it, but
it is hard. I mean, this is a conflict as old as the Bible, right? And so it's been going on and on for a long, long time. And so it is hard to get a handle on it. And I think there will always be tensions in the Middle East and those who don't want Israel to be a state. I wish I could say there was an easy solution to it, but I don't see it.
So I'm wondering, Jay, if you can talk to us about really what Rabbi Zippel said last night about the triumph of light over darkness when it feels pretty dark this weekend.
Well, it does, but light is always wherever light shines, darkness disappears. And so the more I've written a lot in my career about copycats, copycat crimes, and my theory that good acts lead to more good acts. There can be copycat goodness as well. And I think the more we focus on that, each one of us can decide to do acts of kindness and goodness in our lives, and that will actually spread and influence the world, I think, more than darkness. I think the darkness is a small minority, again, that wants you to think that they're huge and all-encompassing, when light is much more powerful. And I think the more we can try to spread that individually, the better.
All right, we're going to thank you for talking with us. This is Jay Evenson, opinion editor for the Deseret News. We're going to switch gears for just a little bit, and I wonder if we should sing Mele Kaliki Maka right now.
Mele Kaliki Maka is the thing to
because
say.
it's looking a lot more green than it is white, maybe brown. We'll be back.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio, or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Nighttime temperatures are in the 20s. Next week is the official start to winter, and many kids here in Utah don't have the warm coats and sturdy shoes they need to get through these cold months.
KSL's Quarters for Christmas has been helping local children for years, turning your donations into warm coats and shoes for kids right here in our community.
Every dollar you give goes directly toward providing coats and shoes for kids who need them most. And, it's really easy to make a difference. You just have to go online. Go to kslquarters.com, donate what you can, and then know that you're helping keep a child warm this winter.
Please join us in spreading a little comfort and a lot of kindness with KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
This holiday season, give the gift of love that lasts a lifetime with Duke's Jewelers. For over 75 years, the Dukes family has been part of Utah Valley's story, helping yours celebrate life's most cherished moments since 1948. Dukes is more than a jewelry store. They're craftsmen, creating timeless pieces and custom designs that capture the magic of the holidays. Whether it's a sparkling necklace, a custom ring, or restoring a family heirloom, Duke's Jewelers pours their heart into every gift, because jewelry isn't just about sparkle, it's about love and legacy. This Christmas, make your loved one feel like part of the Dukes family. Find the perfect gift at Duke's Jewelers, located at 220 South Main in Springville, or shop online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, celebrating love and tradition since 1948.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
Well, it is looking more like a Hawaiian Christmas outside.
At least not a white one.
I'm looking outside. It's 41 degrees right now, and I don't see any snow except on the highest of the peaks.
I know, and Hawaii actually has snow on their highest peaks, so even though it was really cold this morning, it's really been unseasonably warm, and so you know, it's one of the things where you just go, wait, what's happening? What's happening? I guess we don't need Rudolph because there's no big snowstorm coming.
You know, and for me, having worked in the ski industry for 40 some years, you sort of watch trends, and the trend seems to be almost like we're getting winter later and later every year, to the point where this year, I don't know, I read something this morning that it's a 25-year low, the worst winter
for
we've
snow,
had.
I know.
In 25 years.
We have with us Matt Johnson, KSL meteorologist in studio. Matt, what is going on?
You know, that's a great question.
It's warm and dry, both.
Yes, and you know, for a while there, the start of the ski season, we couldn't even make snow at higher elevations, which is really a rare thing up at 6,500, 7,000, 8,000 feet. Usually it's cold enough, it's dry enough, it's ready to go. You can make that snow, but that kind of aided in slowing down the start of the season as well. But we are hoping for a pattern change, but it doesn't look like a cold pattern change that's headed our way.
Yeah, and I was looking at the ski reports this last weekend, and there we have resorts that are open, Matt, with 12 inches of snow. I mean, and we have resort, I think the big resort is like Brighton's got 29 inches. I remember when we wouldn't even think of opening a mountain with 29 inches. You usually waited until you had 3 or 4 feet. We don't have that luxury. Of course, we do have snowmaking that sort of creates a snow base, but like you said, if it's over something like 35 degrees, or I don't remember what the number is, you can't make snow.
Yeah. We just find ourselves in such an interesting place, right? And we don't have to get into specifics, but definitely if you've lived here over 20 years, at the least, you've seen the climate. It's warmer. Winters aren't as harsh. Valley snow is more rare. In fact, speak of valley snow, we're creeping up on a record from 1889. Our longest streak of no measurable snowfall is at 290 days. We currently sit at 272 days. So 18 days from now would be somewhere around January 3rd. If we make it to January 3rd without any measurable snowfall in the valley, we break that old record. That's over 100 plus years old.
Wow. I'm wondering, is the cold, can you anticipate, is it coming in January? Have we just shifted and we can expect it to be miserable and dark and cold in January?
You know, I wish I could speak with confidence to that. But right now, from what I can speak to, is a warmer, wetter pattern that's headed in now through early, maybe even mid-January. The hope is, though, that as we get into January, we'll start to see more lobes of cold air drop down from the Arctic. There's no guarantee on that, but usually January and February, that's a time where it's really hard to stay away from the cold, if you will, right? Those are months where we really start getting that polar vortex going up in the higher latitudes, and then we get bits and pieces of it.
It does seem like in certain areas of the state, Matt, the moisture for the year is at or close to normal. But the snowpack is nowhere near that. Is there any good news behind that? If we're getting some moisture in some parts that, we did have that rainy October here in the Wasatch Front.
Yeah, wettest October ever. And I've kind of been looking at that actually the last couple of days because it's true. When we look at the drought monitor, we've actually improved since summertime. And it's because we've been getting the precipitation that we need, but it's coming in, very sporadic bulk amounts. And so there is silver lining with that, that our soil moisture, our aquifers, our wells are going to be replenished because of a lot of that rain that we saw in the valley and in southern Utah in October. But one thing that's really important in any western state is hydrology. And a lot of that comes down to, do we have snowpack that will be timed released through early spring, mid-spring, summer, and late summer? That's what really helps us out, is if we can get that snowpack to a point at which, almost like, have you ever taken a pill and it's a timed release, right? It comes at the time that you need it. We really care about snowpack in higher elevations. The snowless streak in Salt Lake City is noteworthy, right? Because it means we're getting warmer storms. But it's not necessarily this pivotal thing that could do damage down the road. It's more the mountains. If we don't get the snow up there, that's when we start turning heads and raising eyebrows at what's to come.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Matt. You know what? We're going to also talk about warmer weather and bugs and plants, right? It does have an impact.
Yeah, we have Ton Bettis, co-host of the KSL's Greenhouse Show at USU Extension horticulturist, joining us this morning. Ton, thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
So I often think about the bark beetles and the fact that in certain parts, and I'm going off on a stray here, but certain parts of the Uintas, it didn't get cold enough. It hadn't been getting cold enough to kill these pests off, and it was hurting some of our trees. Can you talk to us about what happens in years like this where we're really far above normal?
Well, the bark beetles don't die, and they're able to progress to higher elevations because of the warm weather, and trees at higher elevations that would normally be safer are not. And so we continue to lose mature forest trees because of the warmer weather.
Can you talk to us, Ton, about just our gardens or our yard? How is this impacting them? And what about the bugs that aren't going away?
Well, in our yards, in the urban landscape, it's a little bit different. We may see higher populations of stink bugs and box elder bugs and, everything else that's out there as far as insects go. And we'll just have to deal with that next year, as the weather warms back up in the summer. Plant-wise, we've got some pretty good ground moisture across the Wasatch Front, but I worry a little bit about newly planted tree, shrubs, perennials, because they don't have the root system that a more mature plant does. And so it's necessary to go out and dig down 6 inches just with a little hand trowel or a shovel and see how dry the soil is. And in some situations, anything planted, especially after August of last year, I feel it's important to check to make sure they don't dry out.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Ton. In terms of just homeowners looking at their own yards and plants and whatever, is there ever a time when you water your trees in December?
Absolutely. If your soil is dry, it's especially important for our conifers, so the spruce and pine especially, that they can't dry out in the winter because they have needles on the trees and they don't go completely dormant. They're losing water. And if the soil dries out, then they can't take up water, and come January, February, and March, you start to see browning needles, and it makes them much more susceptible to things like the bark beetles we talked about earlier. Drought stress is just really hard on conifers, much more so than trees that drop their leaves in the winter.
I'm wondering, one final question, is that do you think that if this trend continues, could we shift out of the plant hardiness zone that we're currently in?
Oh, we already have. I mean, it's not that we can grow palm trees readily and we're going to look like Southern California, but on the Greenhouse Show, we've had a lot of discussions about fruit that isn't traditionally hardy here that's all of a sudden in protected areas. We're growing hardy pomegranates, figs, even pistachios in areas. And 25 years ago, this would have been unheard of. And so we are warming. And as Matt Johnson mentioned, I'm old enough to remember we are not nearly as cold as we were when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. That was Ton Bettis, co-host of the KSL Greenhouse Show. And when we come back, another punch in the gut story. Rob Reiner and his wife were found stabbed to death.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott, KSL's top story this hour. And it is breaking news. West Valley police are working to make contact with a suspect that has barricaded himself in his home with a gun. Police say this started after he reportedly pointed a gun at a woman he was involved in a minor traffic accident with around 8 this morning. Authorities traced his license plate back to his home, but he barricaded himself inside with the weapon. In the meantime, schools in the area have been put on lockdown as a precaution. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. LA police say the son of director and actor Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle is being held on suspicion of murder on $4 million bail.
Rob Reiner's son, Nick Reiner, now in custody. The LAPD making the arrest earlier today. Sources are telling us it is for suspicion of murder, but no charges have been filed yet. That will come later. Here outside the Reiner home, it is quiet inside the gates of the home. There's a big white gate here. There are holiday decorations up around the home. One light on in the home. It appears the on-scene part of the investigation here has wrapped up. The LAPD has moved out.
ABC's Alex Stone reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 114 points. The S&P is down 14 points. And coming up, sunny and hazy. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
When the new year hits, every business could use a little something to stay ahead. A lift, a jump start, an edge, or perhaps a boost. Like the all-new 5-year business boost from Comcast Business. It's the certainty of a price lock for 5 years on qualifying internet bundles. Plus, you'll have the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment, so your whole team can stay connected at a great rate. And to sweeten the deal, ask about a $500 prepaid card when you add 2 lines of mobile. It's the boost your business deserves. So sign up for the 5-year business boost and get a 5-year price lock on ultra-reliable Wi-Fi. Plus, ask about a $500 prepaid card. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/22/26, new customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees. Best Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Give her a Bernina, the Christmas gift she'll love and use from Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George.
Buy the Bernina 880 Plus machine.
Previously loved for only $1,999. Other buybacks and trade-ins start at $499 featuring 2-year warranties and free classes. Just what you wished for. Dave's Bernina has a second chance at Black Friday deals.
All machines are on sale, including the new Bernina 3 Series, priced too low to mention. Even the most advanced sewing machine in the world, the Bernina 990, is on sale. That comes with free gifts.
Special financing offers of 1.9% for 48 months or 0% interest for 24 months.
Incredible doorbuster deals on accessories that you will have to come into the store to find out.
And gift packages worth up to $5,200 free with certain new Bernina machine purchases.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Ricky Meese.
Nice and quiet on all the Valley freeways, including I-15, seeing good speeds right now. And that's between Hill Air Force Base and BYU. All your main secondaries are pretty quiet at this time as well. Advanced Window Products, $2,500 off 10 windows or more. AdvancedWindows.com. Affordable windows guaranteed. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 50 with hazy skies today. Temperatures will move up and down in the 50s this week. We could see another storm on Wednesday. Right now, it is 41 and fair. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com, where Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, this is a story that's actually evolved since we started the show today, but director, screenwriter, and actor Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer were found dead in their Los Angeles home yesterday. If you recall, Rob Reiner played Meathead in All in the Family.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Here's Reiner as Mike Stivic and Carol O'Connor as Archie Bunker in All in the Family.
Well, what would our leaving solve? I mean, with or without protesters, this country would still have the same problems.
What problems?
Well, it's the war, the racial problem, the economic problem, the pollution problem.
Oh, come on, if you want to nitpick.
That was Reiner. He also produced such films as When Harry Met Sally, This Is Spinal Tap, A Few Good Men, Stand By Me, and more. I mean, he was quite a prolific person in the Hollywood community, and I think his father was Carl Reiner, if I recall.
Yeah, that's right.
But wasn't old by any means. He and his wife found dead, but it's evolved, like I say, to the point where now police apparently have somebody in custody.
Yeah, but here's the tragic thing. A couple of tragic things. One is, though they were both found by their daughter.
Yeah.
And now the person that they have in custody is their son.
Yeah, here's ABC's Alex Stone.
Rob Reiner's son, Nick Reiner, now in custody. The LAPD making the arrest earlier today. Sources are telling us it is for suspicion of murder, but no charges have been filed yet. That will come later. Here outside the Reiner home, it is quiet inside the gates of the home. There's a big white gate here. There are holiday decorations up around the home. One light on in the home. It appears the on-scene part of the investigation here has wrapped up. The LAPD has moved out.
Again, just so tragic. I mean, I saw yesterday that that he was reported dead. I think he's 78, so
yeah,
he's even older than we are, but still young, right?
Pretty young man.
And his
right.
wife, I think, is 68, 10 years younger. But it's just It's like, oh, that's so sad. And then I saw, oh, they think it was a homicide. And then today it was like, they think it was the son.
Right. And his son, Nick, has spoken over the years about his struggles, his own struggles, substance abuse, homelessness, going in and out of rehab. He told People magazine in a 2016 interview that he first went into rehab for drug abuse at age 15 and that he eventually had at least 17 stays in rehab facilities over the years. So he struggled mightily. Although we've seen a lot of posts of Rob and his wife and son over the years where they were working together, and Nick was speaking about events and the troubles that he'd had. He seemed to be, at least at various times, doing well on his path to recovery. But I mean, that's one of those areas that you could always
we don't know what happened. And
right.
As I've learned from you, you can be arrested and booked, and he's being held on $4 million bond, but he'll be charged formally a little bit later.
Yeah, if the police feel like they have enough evidence. It seems like right from the outset, it didn't really take much reading between the lines as I was reading about it that his son was a suspect. The daughter actually found the couple. I mean, it can't be anything worse. And they were killed they were stabbed to death. I mean, the stabbing was just horrific. I can't imagine what that scene had to be like for that poor girl.
So he has, I think, A Few Good Men, right? This is the one where you really like the line.
Oh yeah, this is one
quote.
of the greatest lines of any movie.
Did you order the code red? You don't have to answer that question. I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
That was
that's a
you.
great line.
That's your favorite. You've used it before,
it
right?
really is. Yes. Yeah. I mean, and then he also directed Stand By Me, which was another one of my favorite movies. That was a fun movie, and he just had a lot of great movies over the years. And I think that role, he was the liberal. He and his wife, Sally, I forget her name, in All in the Family. They were the liberals, and of course the old man and his wife were the
right.
conservatives. It was a play on Americana during the time, and it was a lot of fun. He did a great job, but then he really took to film and did some great movies along the way. It was just sad to see him leave this way. It couldn't be more tragic.
Yeah, and there's some additional sad. President Trump posted about Rob Reiner's death, but instead of like asking for sorrow and grieving like he did with Charlie Kirk, he actually said that Rob Reiner and his wife were killed because they had Trump derangement syndrome. And there are people on both sides of the aisle calling that out. Everybody from Ted Cruz to other people on the right who are saying, in fact, Marjorie Taylor Greene called it out. You just like, at some point, where do you say this is like, we just can't continue down this road of being so inappropriate?
Right. And how does this affect me? It doesn't. It has nothing to do with the administration or the government or what's happening in our country. It has to do with a son, allegedly, and we don't know the whole facts, who suffers from a mental illness and, among other things, acted out. And it's certainly not common for a young person to kill their parents, but it's not unheard of either.
Right,
and
exactly.
Especially in times of, it's almost like a suicidal act. It's something that
if there's a psychotic break,
right?
Or
you kill the
something.
person that's closest to you.
Yeah, it was another, like, I think the weekend has just been really heavy, and so we have just these multiple tragedies, and this is the latest coming. In fact, it's not even the only one coming out of California, because as we were doing the show, we had the breaking news that the police in California have arrested 4 members of a terrorist extremist group
that could have done all kinds of carnage on New Year's Eve. I mean, that was a plan for individuals, a distinctive plan to put bombs in different places in Southern California for a New Year's Eve attack.
And they were hoping to grow it. They were hoping they could recruit more people.
Right. And thank goodness that the FBI or whoever it was, California, whatever it was, that intervened and found them actually preparing for this very event and arrested them. 4 people at the scene, that could have been just awful. And, but something awful may occur between now and New Year's Eve anyway. You don't know. And we're doing everything we can.
Thanks for that.
We're doing everything we can to stop it.
Yeah, it's just a tragedy, right? And, I sometimes wonder, like, where do you go find the happy news? So we have been doing stories of kindness, actually. That's one place where I go to look for happy news. Who's out there being kind? And certainly we talked about the person in Australia who ran towards the gunman and was able to pull the gun out of his hands. That's a happy story.
Right. And we also have, in terms of the conflict in America and the discussion in America and what's happening worldwide, we have people such as our own governor who speak out and who aren't afraid to say, you know what, we do need to change things. And even the event that we spoke about last night, the Hanukkah kickoff,
right?
Shine a light on the darkness. Any light is better than total darkness.
Well, and he's been speaking out, and our next segment, we're going to talk some more about Governor Cox, but he's been speaking out on being able to disagree better for years, actually. If you remember, there was a nightclub shooting in Florida. He was speaking out then, saying, I'm paraphrasing, but we need to disagree better, right? This is not okay. Targeted acts of violence, not okay. Certainly standing with our friends in the Jewish community, right? And then with Charlie Kirk here in Utah, on our own turf, with him saying, look, we can't respond to violence with violence, and getting national attention for it, which actually is what we're going to talk about. He is getting some national attention.
Yeah, he's getting some serious national attention. Politico's senior political columnist says Governor Spencer Cox should run for president in 2028 and states some pretty good reasons why to be a foil for big tech companies. We'll get into that when we come back.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. You've heard me talk now for years about the Kinetico soft water system that we have in our home. As we head into the colder weather, if you're dealing with dry and itchy skin, do you notice your skin is cracking? It's uncomfortable, and the lotion doesn't seem to give you the relief you need? Hard water may be a hidden contributor to that pain and discomfort of dry, itchy skin. I've got Monty here from Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer and an expert in overcoming challenges with hard water here in Utah.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. When you shower in hard water, the minerals don't rinse away completely, forming a film in your skin, leaving you feeling tight, dry, and constantly itching.
So the hard water minerals are essentially leaving a sticky residue on my body and even in my hair?
Exactly. Kinetico removes the minerals before they touch your skin, leaving you feeling silky, smooth, and comfortable.
Do what I did and stop buying expensive lotions and start treating the source of the problem. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
With Steel, batteries are included. This holiday season, give a gift that's ready to go right out of the box. For everything from cleaning up the yard to cutting up firewood, Steel tools check off the wish list and knock out the to-do list. And right now, buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit SteelUSA.com for holiday deals and gift ideas. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
Sometimes when our furnace stops working, it's something simple we can fix ourselves, if we only knew how. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the next time your furnace stops working, before you call a company out to fix it, try this first. Go shut the furnace down and make sure your air filter is clean. Go around the house and make sure the vents are open and there's nothing blocking the return air. If it's been a while since you've changed the batteries in your thermostat, go ahead and do that too. Then go turn the furnace back on, and if it stays on, you're probably good. If it stops working again, you're probably going to want a technician to check it out. If you don't know one, Any Hour Services has a special offer for any homeowners listening. One of our HVAC technicians will diagnose and troubleshoot your furnace for only $29. Then they'll explain what they found and present you with repair options. And don't worry, our technicians service all brands. Call Any Hour Services and let them know you heard about this $29 troubleshooting special on the radio. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Well, here's an interesting column from yesterday's Politico, and it's written by Jonathan Martin, Politico's senior political columnist and politics bureau chief, and he says America needs a tech skeptic in the 2028 presidential race and suggests one such person might be our own Governor Spencer Cox.
I know. And, you know, it's funny because he talks about the forum in Washington. We talked about that where he was speaking with Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania. And the moderator, who was CNN, Savannah Guthrie, asked if one of the participants intended to run for president. And Governor Cox said, one of us is not, meaning himself. And so this columnist from Politico is like, well, he should change his mind.
Yeah, you know, it seems like more and more Governor Cox and others, such as Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, are being called on as voices of reason at a time when things are really not that great right now in our country. And we're not calling on necessarily congressional representatives and senators or people from the White House. We're talking about local, we talked about this last week, governors, attorneys general, people like that who are saying to America, hey, we need to stop the rhetoric. And Spencer Cox has been at the front a little bit, and I'm digressing a little, in terms of social media and what can be done there, and has expressed concerns that somebody maybe needs to step in.
Yeah, I mean, he's not, the reason this Politico reporter is saying, hey, he should run for president is actually not because he disagrees better, but it is because he's willing to punch the social media companies in the nose.
Yeah, and the administration, of course, we dealt with this with the artificial intelligence last week, which is a little different, has seemingly taken a position that states keep your hands off as we talk about big tech and at least artificial intelligence.
The Trump administration,
right,
you mean?
Right,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, this isn't a state issue. Utah has made some of these a state issue, and the country of Australia has made it a national issue, which is to say people under the age of 16 don't have social media at all.
That's right.
Until they reach that age.
You know, I think Governor Cox has become really one of the people in the front of the conversation saying, look, social media has become like these algorithms. You mentioned AI specifically, but whether it's AI influencing kids through ChatGPT or through Alexa, or if it's through these social media algorithms that are feeding kids these things to kids, or AI in the teddy bears, right? Telling kids how to be naughty. And by being naughty, I mean like how to set a fire kind of naughty. So Governor Cox has kind of been in the forefront. And he said this at the National Cathedral last week. He said, if you want to be angry at someone, be angry at the social media companies. These are the wealthiest, most powerful companies in the history of the world. And they're profiting off of destroying our kids and destroying our country.
And part of that wealth has created a sense of untouchability.
Yeah.
And the government and the administration nationally saying, hey, leave off. And you know, we did start out in this country with, what was it, Law 257 or something like that, where we said, hey, social media platforms are a place for people to share their ideas.
Right. It's like the public square.
Let's let the First Amendment ride. And we've seen so much where that has gone amok, and how people are reacting to the point of some young people committing suicide, having issues with respect to how they look, how they act, having bullying online. We can't just say anymore in this country that social media has free reign to publish ideas and the free expression when it becomes the free expression of hate and things that are causing, let's face it, so much of what we're talking about even today.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's just interesting to watch this. So I saw online on X again, it used to be Twitter, Governor Cox posted from his personal account. He posted a little meme of a guy, you know, doing the hand across the throat and shaking his head saying, absolutely not, no way, he's not running for president. And even the Politico article says he would be a long shot, but they really appreciated the idea that he would force into the conversation this idea that what you were just saying, it shouldn't just be a free-for-all with social media companies.
Right, and I think that the article is using Cox as a representative of an idea, of a position, of something that maybe could be palatable. I mean, he talks about the fact that even as a Republican in a time when maybe there's going to be some backlash toward Republicans, that somebody coming in with that sort of moderate position and doing something that's a little bit more off the wall, you know, going after social media platforms, that type of thing could make him a very attractive candidate at a time when I think Republicans need somebody like that. They're going to, I think, in the upcoming election.
Yeah. You know, so the state of Utah has been, I think, pretty proactive at going after these social media companies. We're, as a state, suing Snapchat. I think we have sued Instagram. I know that there's legislation that has been passed to allow parents to bring private right of action against social media companies, basically saying if there's harm, they can go ahead and sue. It's something where, you know, in Utah schools, classrooms are now banned from having phones in the classroom. And I understand that not every school is enforcing them the way they should, but I also know the governor is favoring a bell-to-bell ban, which means you don't even take it out in the halls or at lunch or outside at all. It's like from the beginning of the day to the end of the day.
And it's not a First Amendment issue. I mean, it really isn't when you're talking about public health. And you can still have platforms. You can still have it available for people once they reach a certain age, or people, let's say, when you're not necessarily in school, if you want to just limit it to certain groups and categories. But the genie's out of the bottle a little bit, but it's time to maybe start bringing it back in if we can get that done.
And it's so broad. And if you talk about social media or you talk about tech companies, even more broad, ChatGPT is 3 years old. 3 years old. It just is astonishing to me how much has happened in 3 years since it burst onto the scene.
And what's going to be the
next
phenomena in 5 years? I mean, artificial intelligence is blowing up right now, but it was other people have told me that, you know, it's not going to, including your own husband.
Yeah.
Let's keep an eye on this. It may not be the big boom that we're all expecting.
Well, that's also true. But right in the era of deep fakes, and we've got people, AI. In fact, my husband just came back from a conference, and he is a software architect, and he came back from a conference. He said the whole thing was focused on AI. This would be, you know, to your point about tech companies. He said in real time, live time, there was somebody giving an address where he said, let me show you what AI can do. And he was started a Zoom meeting, and he turned himself into Elon Musk with his face, with his voice, with his his gestures. AI did that for him real time while Greg watched. He said it was actually pretty scary.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because imagine being duped, right? We have a special guest right now. It's Elon Musk, the world's richest man. It's not really.
Right. Or the things they're doing with Taylor Swift and other individuals, like deep fake and making them appear to be doing or saying or dressed like something they really never intended to do.
All of those things. So it's just interesting in the conversation to have Governor Cox from what Utah's still a flyover state, even though we punch above our weight. We say that. We love to be talk about how influential Utah is, and we are, but we still only have 4 congressional representatives. We're still reliably red all the time. Even if we have 1 congressional seat that might go to a Democrat in the 2026 election cycle, and I'm not even sure that's going to happen. But again, maybe a long shot, but it's just interesting. This article concludes with this. So what can be done, talking about these big tech companies? Run, Spencer, run.
Yeah, seriously. And he also benefits from the fact that our legislature has tried to take this on a little bit. And Utah's been at the forefront.
And the Attorney General as well.
Absolutely. The whole state has tried to get on top of this as much as possible. And he's the face of the state for obvious reasons. And he's getting a lot of national attention right now, deservedly so. And it all started with the Charlie Kirk shooting when he came out. And it started much before then, but that brought him to national prominence, where he's sort of the go-to guy, along with others, in terms of national discourse and discussion.
Especially about the tech companies. But, again, it's interesting. You talk about these conversations. It's a little bit depressing that we're talking about the 2028 election cycle. It's like we just barely finished 2025. We haven't even settled on what 2026 is going to look like in Utah, and we're talking about 2028.
Yeah, seriously. Well, last week we talked about a couple of audits that our state auditor had done. They weren't necessarily friendly to Salt Lake City Police Department. There were other groups, including our own district attorney. And this week, recently a meeting was abruptly called today to vote for the removal of the Utah State Auditor from her office location at the Capitol. We have now learned that the Utah's State Auditor has filed a lawsuit challenging these attempts, and we expect a call from the State Auditor herself when we come back.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. 2 bus drivers and 4 students were hospitalized after 2 school buses crashed head-on in Idaho. Idaho State Police say this happened on Highway 25 in Minidoka County. 17 students were on the buses at the time of the crash, and all have been reunited with their families. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Authorities are still searching for the suspected gunman in the Brown University shooting that killed 2 students and injured 9. Students were preparing for final exams when the shots rang out. Ref Bari is one of those students and tells ABC News once he realized there were shots inside the building where he was studying, he ran away as fast as he could.
People were just streaming out of the science library like it was another Saturday because, people have no idea what's happening literally like next door. And so I started screaming, active shooter, run. And a bunch of kids, they see me, they get confused when I scream that, and then they start to run in another direction.
Officials are not recommending another shelter-in-place order despite the renewed search for the suspect. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 78 points. The S&P is down 8 points. And coming up, mostly sunny and hazy. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
The holiday season is here, and it is in full force, and it's time for you and your entire family to get into NPS, where everything, every day, is 20 to 70% off. But the great thing is, shopping is truly an adventure at NPS because they'll have additional savings on top of the 20 to 70% off. It's a chance for you to really stretch those Christmas dollars at any of the 4 NPS stores. And at this time of year, it's so important for you to know that they've got it all. They've got toys for the kids. They've got art supplies, the holiday decor, everything you need for your holiday meals. It's waiting for you at NPS. There are 4 stores, 2 in Salt Lake on Empire, the traditional store, and then the more industrial store across the street. There's one in Orem, and there's one in Layton. NPS, a nice place to save.
One Kind Act a Day is a program from the Semnani Family Foundation. One Kind Act a Day seeks to create kinder communities by inspiring daily acts of deliberate kindness. Their work includes programs in schools, businesses, communities, faith groups, and prisons where they help enhance the culture of kindness and increase a sense of community. The world always needs more kindness. No matter what our background or beliefs are, kindness towards others and ourselves is something that everyone can get behind. Kindness can be big or small, but the ripple effect can reach out in ways that we don't even realize. Wouldn't life be better if we were all a little more kind? You can do your part by starting today. All it takes is one kind act a day. Find out more and take the pledge of kindness at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Ricky Meese.
No delays, but we do have a small accident in Murray. It's on the southbound side of I-15, approaching 5300 south, out of traffic on the shoulder. In West Valley, you should avoid the area of 3600 south, 3200 west, and surrounding streets due to police activity. Looking for the ultimate holiday gift? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. Use code KSL50 online and in stores to receive 50% off. Visit minkycouture.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 50 today with mostly sunny skies. The haze sticks around for the next few days, and then we're expecting some rain on Wednesday. Highs stick to the 50s all week long. Right now, 41 and fair. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, we talked earlier about this auditor office and what's going on there, a little bit of drama. A meeting was abruptly called for today to vote on the removal of the Utah State Auditor from her office at the Capitol. And we've now learned that there's been a lawsuit filed, and I have it here. It's called a petition to avoid final action under the Open and Public Meetings Act. She's been apparently removed from the Capitol by the Capitol Preservation Board and has filed a lawsuit to stop that, saying you guys violated the Opens Meeting Act, and I had a right to appear, and the public had a right to be notified of it.
Well, and this is an ongoing issue from earlier this year. So I don't know if you remember, but the end of the legislative session in March earlier this year, there was a really late session attempt by Senate President Stuart Adams to move the state auditor out of her Capitol office space. She kind of brought that to the media's attention, and they backed down for the time being only. So what's interesting, she's the first woman to ever be state auditor, and she has office space as one of the 5 duly elected state office holders. She has office space in the state office the Rotunda building, so the state capitol.
Right.
And what they want to do is take that space away from her, push her over into the new state office building, and give her office space to state senators.
Yeah.
Who don't represent the entire state, right? They represent 1/29th of it. So it's interesting. Look, it's just a long history. At least it feels long. Maybe it's only just this year, but it feels like there's this effort to push the state auditor out. And when this decision was decided on in September, I have a copy of the notice of the meeting, and it just says action item number 6, visitor center. Well, that does not actually fulfill the laws of the Open and Public Meetings Act that says you have to have some specificity on what's going to actually be on the agenda, right? So they passed this in September, the Capitol Preservation Board, And then today they called a meeting without noticing it for 24 hours and just basically said, yeah, we affirmed that vote that we took in September.
What I don't understand is how visitor center equates to the office of
that's a
the
good
auditor.
question, isn't it?
Visitor center, but it is one of their items, and it was part of their agenda, so it wasn't like they were hiding it. But
well, yes, they were
hiding it by the wrong name, visitor center. That's not what the state auditor office, I assume, would call her office.
Right. Well, that's exactly right. Right. But one of the things that's interesting is it feels so personal. Now, to be fair, Senate President Stuart Adams says it's not personal, but at the same time, like the senators have their own building. It's called the Senate Office Building. And it's right by the rotunda. They still have leadership is still within the rotunda building. And yet they want to kick the state auditor out of her offices and all of her staff and put them in a completely different building so that more senators can be in the Senate in the main building.
Right. I misidentified earlier the source of the audit against Salt Lake City PDs. It was not her office. It was the legislative office.
Legislative auditors.
Yeah, right.
And there's a difference. But yeah, I mean, Utah's auditor, they act. In fact, she's been on our show because of an audit that found quite a bit of, I think if I remember right, misappropriation of funds. I could be wrong, but it was from a whistleblower, she said.
So I had never heard of this board, the Capital Preservation Board, but it's composed of Utah's top elected officials, including Senate President Stuart Adams, House Speaker Mike Schultz, other lawmakers, Attorney General Derek Brown, the Utah Treasurer Marla Oaks, Governor Cox, and Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson also sit on the board, but they weren't part of this particular discussion. But it was it's a blue ribbon committee. I guess Oaks, State Treasurer Oaks, was the only one that voted against this move.
Yeah, that's right. And his office is down on the first floor too, which is across from where, in fact, the board did try to move Tina Cannon, the auditor, down there, but now I think they want to move her completely out of the building. So it's just the Capital Preservation Board oversees, as you can imagine, the Capitol. So I don't know, what was it, 15? It's got to be close to 20 years ago when they did some earthquake proofing with the Capitol. Like that was all under the auspices of the Capital Preservation Board, and looking at how that office space is used and how the whole Capitol is used, and do you go there to get permission to hold events, those types of things. And again, now they're trying to say, okay, you're out, Tina Cannon.
When I started practicing law, the Supreme Court was in the Capitol building.
Oh yeah,
I think. Uh-huh. And the Attorney General's office had most of their staff in the Capitol building. Slowly other groups and let's face it, the legislature has been moving people out to make room for them, which makes some sense on some levels. But these state agencies, including the treasurer, including the auditor, should be placed together so that we can. You can find them easily. You can work with them, and they can work with each other closely by being in the same vicinity.
Tell me a little bit about as you read this lawsuit, right? So she's filing a suit against the Capital Preservation Board, and she's saying that they didn't conduct the meetings according to the Open and Public Meetings Act, which is OPMA. What does she want to have happen?
She just wants to void the decision of the board. So the board met. They did what we talked about here, and they voted to move her out of the Capitol. And she's saying we need to void that decision under the Open Meeting Act because they didn't follow the act. So what she's saying is whatever happened at that meeting, which was we know what they were considering, should now be voided. And it doesn't mean that they can't have another meeting and follow the law and come to the same conclusion.
Right.
But they didn't, according to this lawsuit, follow the law. It's interesting. Her attorneys are from the Attorney General's office, and the Attorney General was one of the people that apparently, if I'm reading this right, made the vote to remove her. So it is the Attorney General's office that's handling it. But they represent state agencies, including the auditor. But the Attorney General himself, it appears, is a member of the board. We don't know exactly what his involvement was, but he's a member of the board. Of course, you can't have it both ways. The Attorney General's office is there. They represent state agencies. You can't just hire outside counsel every time you have a beef.
So this is going to 3rd District Court, right? Not straight to the Utah Supreme Court.
No, you got to start with the trial court. Well, we do have State Auditor Tina Campbell, or Tina Cannon. Tina Campbell's one of the judges in the federal court. Tina Cannon with us. Tina, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for the invitation.
I'm wondering, Auditor Cannon, if you can tell us where this Capital Preservation Board is trying to move you.
So that's been the question of the year, actually. So it's a good question, and it is still unclear to my office because the area that they are discussing, we have not been given any of the floor plans or any of the indication of where the office would be in that area. We have heard a small portion of the museum. We have heard the full museum. We have zero idea. That has been my concern all the way through, that when I am not allowed to even have knowledge of what the plan is, that it is exclusionary to and detrimental to the interests of the office.
And is it your position, Auditor Cannon, that the office should remain in the Capitol? I mean, do you feel like that's the appropriate location for what you're doing?
I think that my location in the Capitol Rotunda is historic and part of the executive branch officers that are represented in that area of the Rotunda. The Utah State Capitol is to represent the people of Utah and their constitution in the architecture. And there is a strategic vision of the architect that is reflected in the placement of those offices, so that when people walked in, they literally saw the separation of powers illustrated in the placement of the offices. So it has a historic meaning as well as a symbolic meaning for the Constitution of the state of Utah. It is placed there for a reason.
So, Tina, are they talking about moving you? And I know you said it's not clear, but they're talking about maybe moving you to the basement of the Rotunda building?
Yes. The museum that is currently there and the highway patrol offices that are there already, there's a presentation room that's there. It is very unclear, and we've requested the floor plan and have not received it, which is a violation. In my mind, it is a violation of the full statute in 630201 that indicated that the state auditor was to be included in the planning and the discussion of the usage of the space in the Capitol. There is a reason why that agreement was negotiated during the 2024 session. I was part of that negotiation at the time, and it is negotiated that way because the auditor is not part of the Capitol Preservation Board. I am to remain independent of the Capitol Preservation Board because I audit the work that they do. And anytime a building that is upwards of $327 million, which is the cost currently of the North Building, with an addition of 180,000 square footage of space, the oversight of the independent auditor should remain independent. And I worry for multiple reasons over the actions today and what indication that has on that independence and that any report that we would issue from the work that we have been doing in doing our job and reviewing those expenditures.
Can you tell our listeners about the auditor's office, the size, the individuals, and whether you have satellite offices already in place?
So my full staff is located at the state capitol. We have oversight. We are the post auditor of public accounts, which means that we have oversight over not just federal funding coming into the state and the state funds, but also local government oversight. If it is government in the state of Utah, we have oversight over their spending and assets. We do that through several ways. We collect all of their annual comprehensive financial reports, and we also collect their transactions through their banking accounts, and we report that on transparent.utah.gov. That oversight means that I have oversight over up somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 billion across the state. We do that with oversight with several specialties in the office, including Transparent Utah, which is my data analytics team, and we have the majority of the staff are CPA certified, which is required for the oversight on those annual comprehensive financial reports. So our office, we are split between our communications hub that deals with our public, because I am an elected official that is statewide, and our communications staff is housed in the state capitol with a local government representative here as well. And then the majority of my data analytics staff and my financial audit team are in the Senate building.
Thank you so much for joining us today. That was State Auditor Tina Cannon. And, we're going to continue to follow this story because she has filed a lawsuit because of the State Capitol Preservation Board trying to move her out of the offices she's currently in. We'll be back.
Most diets will help you lose a few pounds, but Soda Weight Loss will help you lose years. I lost 37 pounds on the Soda Weight Loss program 3 years ago, and I feel younger than I've felt in decades. And it's not because of how I look, it's because of how I feel.
But you do look younger,
Thank
too.
you.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and then I looked at the before and after pictures of myself and was like, wow.
It's something when you don't have to carry all of that excess weight around. And I was at a stage in my life where I didn't want to add drugs to my regimen. I wanted to reduce the number of medications I had to take. So the nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss taught me how to have a healthy relationship with food.
And it was so helpful that I could text my nutritionist anytime I wanted to for advice, which helped me learn what I needed to know so that I could keep it off. And right now, this is the perfect time to join, because if you join now, your partner joins for free. It's the perfect gift for both of you.
It's at Soda Weight Loss.
SOTAweightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda,
state of the art.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
I want more from my checking account. That's why I have Dream Rewards checking from Cyprus Credit Union. I earn points for making everyday purchases, paying my loans, even building my savings. Those points get me awesome rewards like cash back, gift cards, travel, and more. I'm making my everyday spending work for me. Learn more at cypruscu.com.
Cyprus Credit Union, your future is our future.
Insured by NCUA.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. When it comes to protecting Utah's workforce, WCF Insurance helps keep businesses running smoothly and employees supported when injuries happen. Their local approach and community roots make getting help and care straightforward. CEO and President Matthew Lyon joins us with more.
At WCF Insurance, we've been serving Utah for over 100 years, and we're proud to still call this place home. We live here, we work here, and we're deeply invested in the people and businesses that make our communities thrive. What began as a workers' compensation specialist has expanded into a commercial lines partner. Business owners policies, commercial auto, and more, so companies can grow with confidence through one carrier that knows Utah and the Mountain West. People matter is our North Star. Beyond policies, we put that belief to work. Through charitable giving and thousands of employee volunteer hours, we invest in education, housing, safety, and community resilience. Whether you're running a family business in southern Utah or growing a company on the Wasatch Front, we're here to help you protect what matters most and build a stronger future together. Learn more at WCF.com.
Through thoughtful workers' compensation solutions and community-focused initiatives, WCF Insurance helps Utah workers recover and thrive. Combined with charitable projects and volunteer efforts, their work strengthens workplaces and neighborhoods, leaving a meaningful impact across the state. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Inside Sources.
It's been a bit of a depressing day with our news today. We talked about Brown University. We talked about Australia and the Hanukkah attacks. We talked about Rob Reiner being killed in his own home and his son is the suspect. But we get to talk about some fun news. You and I, Greg, went and attended the Tabernacle Choir Christmas concert on Saturday. Full venue. It was lovely. Now we can both say we have sung with the Tabernacle Choir.
It was amazing.
Us
I had
and,
no idea.
20,000 of our best friends.
Right.
But over the weekend also, there was some news that I thought was super interesting, and that was the 383rd Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was announced, not in general conference and not in a big meeting. It was announced at a fireside. I have Sarah Weaver with us. We both have Sarah Weaver with us, the editor of the Deseret News. Can you tell us a little bit about why this was so different, at least in the recent past?
Well, President Russell M. Nelson, who passed away a few months ago, he loved to announce temples, and he announced of the 200 temples he announced in his 7 years as president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, 199 of those were announced during the Faith's semi-annual General Conference. There was one exception. It was the Ephraim, Utah temple that was announced. The church was going to renovate the Manti, Utah temple. They made some shifts and said, actually, we'll preserve some of these murals and leave this temple the same, but we need to make some ADA accommodations and other things. So we're going to build a second temple in Ephraim. And so even that one was announced under unique and special circumstances, but President Dallin H. Oaks obviously has a little different style. And so in Portland, Maine on Sunday night, members in that area, Latter-day Saints, who had gone to a Christmas devotional, not with a member of the First Presidency or a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, but with their own area president, who is a General Authority 70. They went, and at the end, a letter was read from the First Presidency, so the announcement still came from the First Presidency, but it went directly to the people who will be most affected by that temple.
So that was how the announcement was made. So they heard it first?
They heard it
the
first.
The congregation
yeah.
themselves. And it was an event that's been sort of identified like a fireside.
Yeah. And I think it's beautiful because there was huge snowstorms in the Northeast this weekend. JFK had a full stop and flights actually ceased for a few hours because of bad weather. And so now you have members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Maine who weather a snowstorm to go to a devotional event on a Sunday night, and then they get this beautiful news.
So what was the reaction for the people who were there in person listening?
We didn't have any reporters there. We did have there was a live stream, and we did interview people after the fact, and they talked about it being a sacred moment where there kind of went a hush over the whole congregation when they realized, wow, this level of worship, the highest level of worship, is now going to be available to us closer to home. These Latter-day Saints have been going to the Boston, Massachusetts temple. It's a 2 to 3 hour drive for them. This is the first Latter-day Saint temple to be built in Maine, so it'll be the first temple for their state. And so I'm sure it was a moment where it took a minute to sink in. They weren't expecting it, obviously, and then they realized, wow, we're going to get a temple right here. They told us first, and then the members did report that at the end of the meeting there was great excitement, enthusiasm, and hugs and celebration.
What does it say about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Sarah, that we are now at 383 temples?
Well, isn't this a remarkable thing? For years, leaders have said that leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have said that the Lord is hastening his work. One of the things that is important to both President Oaks and the people who led the church before him was the work of salvation, these ordinances performed in sacred temples, and they're trying to get them closer to the members. And so I think we're going to see a continuation of rapid temple building.
I thought it was interesting that in the October General Conference, as you mentioned, it was really just like the week that President Nelson passed away and President Oaks led the conference proceedings, and he said, I think in his last address on the last conference session, that he was not going to be announcing any further temples at that moment, right? And I think I was one that was surprised, but I think a lot of people were surprised because President Nelson had, I think, gotten everybody used to saying, okay, we're going to announce, 7 or 10 or 15 or felt like 20, I don't know, a lot. And so I think for me, just hearing this news yesterday, that was one bright spot in a weekend of not good news.
Well, and you have to remember, we got used to the way President Nelson does things. Yeah. He sort of said, I'm going to announce a lot of temples at General Conference. But President Thomas S. Monson, he announced 45 temples, and 40 of those were announced in General Conference. But the leaders of the church before that, including President Gordon B. Hinckley, they announced the majority of temples outside of General Conference settings. So this is a return to something. This is also something that I think is very, very sweet, because it means that leaders at headquarters for the church are actually looking out and trying to unify membership across the globe. We just had the First Presidency Christmas devotional that was pre-taped. We don't know why it was pre-taped, but because they didn't say. But the one thing that pre-taping allowed was for that meeting to be translated in advance. And so it went out in languages, and every Latter-day Saint across the globe got those proceedings in their own language at the same time. And so there wasn't a headquarters and international church. There was just a Church of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm going to pivot for just 1 second to tell you that today is Bill of Rights Day, because it was on this day, December 15th, 1791, that the Bill of Rights was ratified with 10 amendments. And of course, the First Amendment talks about freedom of religion, right, freedom of speech, freedom of the press. Right. Today is a big day for that.
Yeah, we talk about the Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution. A lot of people think that is the Constitution because that's how we study it in law school and whatnot.
Right.
Well, thanks, Sarah. And that ends our show today. We'll turn things over to Midday with Maria Shileo. She'll have more on the heightened security at the Hanukkah celebrations around the world and here in Utah after the...
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Midday. I'm Maria Shaleos, KSL's top story. There is